come forward. We'd like to have all of us together so we can have beautiful photographs. Good morning to you all. I'm not hearing the response. Good morning to you all. Looks like we haven't had breakfast yet. But that was a loud good morning. Thank you so much for responding to me. It is with immense pleasure that I welcome all of you to the Cedi Conference Center here on the University of Ghana campus. This morning we are here to commemorate the 10th birthday of the West Africa Center for Cell Biology of Infectious Pathogens, WACBIP. If you're a member of this university community, you always struggle to mention the full name, so people will safely say WACBIP. So today we are going to be mentioning the full name so we can get used to it. If WACBIP were a 10-year-old boy or girl, we'll be reminded by him or her that he or she has attained double digits. If you've ever had a 10-year-old before, they'll remind you that I'm now double digits. WACBIP has come of age. We are very happy to be here this morning for this anniversary, and also to formally open the eighth research conference. Over the past years, WACBIP has played a significant role in conducting cutting-edge research on disease diagnosis, prevention, and control. And so we are here to support WACBIP as they mark this important milestone. And this is under the theme, Addressing Health Challenges in Africa, a Decade of Building World-Class and Innovative Scientific Capacity. If you are as excited as I am for this anniversary, please let's give a round of applause to WACBIP, to congratulate WACBIP for all the great work that they've done over the past decade. To begin this morning's event, I would like to invite the priest in charge at the St. Thomas Aquinas Catholic Church, Legon, Reverend Father William Abeku Apre, to give us the opening prayer. As he comes, a round of applause.
Please, can we be on our feet? Let us pray. Gracious and almighty God, we gather here this morning to celebrate the 10th anniversary of the West African Center for Cell Biology and Infectious Pathogens. With hearts full of gratitude, we thank you for guiding and sustaining this esteemed center throughout its journey. Your word reminds us in Psalm 23 that you are a shepherd, and because of that, we will not lack. You have been the shepherd of this center, leading it through every challenge and triumph. You have provided for it, ensuring it lacked nothing needed to advance its noble mission. You have made this center lie down in green pastures and let it beside still waters, restoring the souls and renewing the strength of all who work with the center. In times of difficulty, you have walked with them, bringing comfort and hope. For even though we walk through the valley of the shadow of death, we will fear no evil, for you are with us. Your rod and your staff, they comfort us. Lord, you have prepared a table before this center in the presence of challenges, anointing its effort with blessings, so that its cup overflows with success and discovery. We are reminded that your goodness and mercy have followed this center all these years, and we trust that they will continue to follow it as it moves forward into the future. As we celebrate this milestone, we seek your continued guidance and wisdom. Bless all who work with this center and grant them the strength and courage to keep striving for the breakthroughs in their research. Let their efforts bring healing and hope to those affected by infectious diseases. May your presence dwell among them always as we commit the work and the future of this center into your loving hands. Through our Lord Jesus Christ, your Son, who lives and reigns with you and the Holy Spirit, God, forever and ever. Amen. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Reverend Father William Abeku Apre. It's now time for the conference overview, and I would like to invite up here Deputy Director Administration, Professor Lydia Mosi, and Deputy Director Research, Professor Peter Korte, to give us the conference overview. Let's encourage them as they come, please.
Good morning, everyone. I can't tell you how thrilled I am to have you all join us as we celebrate our 10th anniversary and the 8th edition of the WACBIB Research Conference. It's been 10 years of hard work, of grit, of sleepless nights, training the next generation of African scientists. And we are really pleased to show you what we've been able to achieve over these 10 years. We are also thrilled that you've been able to join us, and we hope you stay with us for this year's 5-day conference. It's usually been 3 days, but this year it's 5 days, because we have a lot to show you, and we are really proud of what we've been able to achieve. So the conference opening ceremony starts here. At lunch, we'll break and move over to the WACBIB Conference Hall over on the other side of campus, and we'll continue the activities from there. This year, we've had a lot of people sponsor our conference, and you can see some of them on a pull-up banner just behind me. In addition, this year we are adding a little bit of a twist, so we have some African arts and crafts for all those who want to partake in our wonderful Ghanaian excellence. In addition to all of this, we'll be culminating this event with a dinner on Friday, and you are all invited. And we also would have a Thanksgiving service on Sunday at the Catholic Church behind the West African Center for Cell Biology of Infectious Pathogens. I'd like to make a brief acknowledgement for some of the people who have been our key stakeholders throughout our journey. We have joining us some students from the West African Senior High Secondary School, seated on my right. We also have joining us some market women from Medina and Kanishi markets. They really help drive the work that we do. But more importantly, I'd like to welcome all our distinguished guests who we have invited and have turned up here. We really appreciate all of you, and you'll be acknowledged duly by the MC. So at this moment, I'm going to step aside and have Peter also give a breakdown of what has gone into putting this conference together scientifically. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Lydia. So, welcome again from me. This year, every year, our conference gets bigger, and it takes a lot more to put it together in terms of the people who apply, the amount of volunteer faculty that we need to bring into the committee to evaluate the applications. We had about 700 people registered to attend this conference in person. We had 249 abstracts that were submitted, which had to be reviewed. And I'm happy to say that it was a very competitive process. And over this 5-day conference, you're going to see high quality science across the breadth of cutting edge research, from HIV, to mouse models. And then also, we are going to have, on the fourth day, we're going to have what we call a Biotech Innovation Day, a pitch competition. We started this in January. We've had a boot camp where they've had training on business skills. They've pitched some ideas. They've been incubated. And we're going to have a pitch competition on the fourth day. And you see that all throughout this conference, we'll have our alumni as plenary speakers. And then on the last day, we'll also have primarily dedicated to alumni. We'll end the conference off with an alumni panel discussion where we'll talk about the experiences and the way forward. And I won't talk too much about what you'll see during this opening ceremony because you're going to see it. We'll also have one of our alumni showcased as one of the keynote speakers tomorrow. So I hope that, I'm very happy that the turnout is good. I hope that continues throughout the conference, and I think you'll be very proud of us and what we've managed to achieve, and the showcase that we are putting on in terms of the quality science that can be done here at WACBIP in the University of Ghana, in Africa. All right, enjoy the rest of the conference.
So thank you very much, Professor Lydia Mosi and Dr. Kwashi, for giving us the conference overview and for the acknowledgements. I would also like to say that WACBIP has contributed tremendously to enhancing research here on the University of Ghana, and so we've been joined by a high-powered team from the university, I must say. We have with us this morning our Vice Chancellor, Professor Nana Abba Apia Amfo. We also have with us our Pro-Vice Chancellor with responsibility for research, innovation, and development, Professor Felix Ankuma Asante. I will skip Pro-VC ASA because he's more of a host this morning. We also have with us our Registrar, Mrs. Emilia Ejay Mensah. Also here is the colleague, the Provost of the College of Education, Professor Samuel Ni Adekujo. We've also been joined by the Director of Finance, Mrs. Bernice Biagudu. We have with us also the Director of Public Affairs, Dr. Elysia Ameya Obrunya. I can spot the Director of Noguchi also here with us, Professor Dorothy Yabuamenu. I'm sure we have other deans and directors hidden in the audience. As and when I spot you, I would acknowledge you. So I'd like all of you to know that you are very welcome. We also have students here. Students, can you give us a wave so that we can acknowledge you? Thank you for being here. So next on the program, we have a spoken word, and I would like to invite Albert Komla Arden to deliver a spoken word. As he comes, please, let's acknowledge him.
Thanks so much. Ladies and gentlemen, did you hear that beeping sound? Did you hear what beep? Did you hear that? I know things are expensive, you're in hard times, but can you please pay a little attention? Get in and spy on me so I can easily get you in, spied, and then I'll tell you what beep. So if you ask me what beep, I'll tell you it's a sound of celebration. I'll tell you, it's a rhythm of 10 years, reverberations in addressing health challenges in Africa, I'll tell you. A decade of building a world-class in scientific capacity, a sign for the growth of science in Africa and beyond, I'll tell you. It's a beat that echoes through the tunnels of years, a legacy left right in place, a sound that passes through the tunnels of years, and 10 years for the betterment of Africa. 10 years. A decade of wise leadership, achievements that becomes that beeps continuously, wise leadership, achievements that beeps continuously, cutting edge research that researches every ground, collaborations that foster growth around, brilliant mind coming together as one, innovative solutions, pioneering spirits that foster growth around, a sweet reverb of celebration, a celebration of a milestone. Stone thrown from far miles, milestone, high heights, right from the inception of the intention. Stone shining, a decade dedicated to making the West even better in West Africa and the Western world. Dreams woven with passion, sweat that fuels breakthrough and action, a camaraderie of scholars right from the inception of Prof. Awandari, united for building a world-class and innovative scientific capacity. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a sign meant for us to take home and work on as one of our assignments, because this is a great cause. A sign that can never be left to decay, not this day, after these decades, no. I have a beautiful story I want to tell you. Are you ready to listen? Story. Once upon a time, scholars gathered together. They were thrilled to make Africa better forever, ready to revive their commitment to excellence, to seek every opportunity for innovation and development, serving humanity with great breakthroughs. And today, we all are gathered here, nicely celebrating with tenacity. What a decade of progress. Oh, come on, give it up for Wagbib. You started a great journey and we are proud of you. Proud of the minds refined and inclined for the future. We are proud of you. The universe is proud of you. You see, you are situated right here in Legon, but you still tackle problems with head on, because it doesn't make sense. We use heads to make solutions. The world is very proud of you, proud of the steps you are taking to make everything better every day for these decades. We are proud of you. So join me, let's give a toast to Wagbi, a toast to 10 years of greatness, a toast to wonderful cuts being done over the years. So as a poet, I come before you like letter T to say congratulations, Wagbi, congratulations.
Thank you very much, Albert. Thank you. We want you to know that we have many talents here at the University of Ghana, and it's gratifying to note that when you have a gathering of such eminent scientists, okay, we want to take you beyond the labs and the experiments to enjoy other things, to enrich your experience here during this conference. So let's applaud him one more time. Thank you very much, Albert, for that wonderful performance. I'd now like to invite you to turn your attention to the screens as the Wagbib at 10 anniversary plays before us. Thank you very much.
Wagbib came out of the energy of many young people in the department at the time.
Wagbib's excellence really stems from teamwork.
We are at the cutting edge of technology.
We make excellence the bar for training at Wagbib.
We believe in excellence in teaching and excellence in research.
To do high quality science, to be able to publish and to make an influence in the scientific world.
The West African Center for Cell Biology of Infectious Pathogens, WACBIP, began in 2014 as one of the World Bank African Centers of Excellence, located in the University of Ghana, Legon. In 10 years, it has grown into a leading center for the training of the next generation of African scientists and is spearheading groundbreaking research into infectious diseases, genetics research, and research into non-communicable diseases like cancer. Equipped with advanced technology platforms and state-of-the-art laboratories, WACBIP provides fertile ground for exploration and discovery.
The main impetus for the center came from some workshops that we used to do with the American Society for Cell Biology.
It was my honor and pleasure to be part of a group of cell biologists who obtained funding around 2006 for short courses on the cell biology of African diseases.
This was long before WACBIP was even a dream, and the workshop was hosted at the old Department of Biochemistry, which exists down the road from where WACBIP currently stands.
In 2010, with our move to this building, we had space, and also that also coincided with a period that we had younger faculty who had undergone training in the department.
It was around that time that I had come back to the department, and the head of department at the time, who was Prof. Sami Saki, asked me to be responsible for these workshops, to be sort of the coordinator for these workshops. We were able to engage with a lot of young people in the sub-region, because each workshop we had about 20 to 25 young scientists from Ghana and other African countries. And the conversations we had and their desire to learn and the appetite for such opportunities, that was what drove us to think about how we could make this a permanent presence or a permanent opportunity for young African scientists.
I wrote a grant application designed to obtain more funds to run more of these workshops. My application was not successful, but Gordon, whose vision is much broader than mine, was able to take some of the ideas that we had put into that application and expand them tremendously and significantly into an application that ultimately was submitted to the World Bank, and many of you know was successful.
The idea about WACBIP really was a call from the World Bank trying to help higher institutions to set up the thing. So I called Gordon and said, Gordon, I think you should host this.
So basically I came back to the department and I got all my colleagues together, mostly the younger ones who were full of energy and who listened to me because they were younger than me. So I put them together, Patrick, Lydia, Teresa, Osborne, Abidad. There was another lady called Marian Yako. The Vice Chancellor at the time, Professor Ernest Aite, was determined to turn the university into a research-intensive university.
What first came to my attention when Professor Gordon Wandari approached me about the possibility of creating such a center. And I thought they were very important for the university. I was struck by the fact that he himself was a very young researcher. Most of the people involved with him were equally young. And I was looking for young people at the university to drive change.
An initial $8 million grant from the World Bank and further funds from the Wellcome Trust allowed WACBIP to build a world-class center adjoining the Department of Biochemistry. Equipped with teaching labs and creating an environment that fosters scientific research and learning. The center runs master's, PhD, and postdoctoral training.
I'm very proud of WACBIP because it has leveraged on the initial funding of $8 million from the World Bank and attracted more than $50 million for training of scientists right here in Africa.
WACBIP's core mandate was around infectious diseases. Now, as we grew over the years, we noticed that non-communicable diseases are also coming up strongly in our part of the world. And so our funding portfolio evolved to starting to apply for grants that were involved in non-communicable diseases. Our ability to evolve with changing research interests over the years, I think, has kept us relevant.
It's been an honour for me and a privilege to help in some small way with that early development, and then to chair WACBIP's advisory board over these last 10 years. A key success of that teaching of WACBIP in the early years was the contribution of early career faculty, both from the north and also local faculty from Africa.
The next phase of the center was to consolidate what we had started and then to basically make an impact.
So began an investment into recruiting some of the best African scientific minds to join the center as postdoctoral fellows to conduct research and to teach.
I was looking for opportunities to come back, and because I wanted to drive research on the continent.
I was one of many immunologists at my institution in London. I'm one of only a few immunologists in Ghana. So when I think of where I can have impact, if I look back at my life when I retire one day, where can I have the greatest impact? It is in trying to build up the ecosystem back home where we are admittedly, a little bit deficient, versus making a small contribution to an ecosystem that's already well established.
As a geneticist, I was keenly aware of the dearth of genetics research in African people. And what was striking is it's a huge gap in knowledge. And Africans happen to be the most genetically diverse population. After my first postdoc, when I decided I wanted to move back to Ghana, I wanted to work in an area that had a huge impact. I mean, there are practically no genetic studies being conducted here. So I decided to focus on breast cancer, which happens to be the #1 leading cancer in the world currently.
The center also focused on deepening its network with other African scientific centers.
Through my collaboration with WACBIP, I think we've achieved enormous in our science. We've developed lots of talents that are actually beneficial to African institutions, which have also been exported across the world. I think WACBIP is the next level of scientific institutions that we expect in Africa that do not only do research for publications, but also contribute to data that is used for translation for better public health across the great continents.
WACBIP has trained more than 450 graduate students, masters and PhD students, as well as postdoctoral fellows from 19 African countries.
WACBIP has more than prepared me, and I wouldn't say this because I've just stayed in WACBIP, but for the fact that WACBIP has given me the opportunity to go rub shoulders with my colleagues in other countries, and I'm willing to and I'm ready to take up any challenge anywhere.
The PhD training I had here was holistic, and indeed it has helped me gain that confidence and also to find solutions to problems.
The teaching environment at WACBIP was quite unique. I found that management usually would invite visiting lecturers from either other institutions or outside the country to come in and teach us, and then teach us the practical ways of doing research and then thinking about problems to solve it through research. So
the fellowship that we were getting was about developing leaders in science, not just about training PhD students, but also building leaders for the next generation, or at least future scientists, future science leaders in Africa.
The opportunity to deepen the center's impact presented itself during the COVID-19 pandemic. WACBIP had the right scientists and infrastructure in place to lead the science that informed the government of Ghana's policy response.
WACBIP did play a very central role in our response.
We were able to have a strong impact and mobilize the teams to respond first for testing and then for doing the research that we're doing now.
one of the critical areas WABIC did excel was in the research, in the genomic sequencing and in the seroprevalence studies. And this really helped us not just to map out where the diseases are, but which variants we were dealing with, and especially when we started easing restriction.
During the COVID-19 pandemic, our researchers here, using the high-performance computing system, were able to assemble the genome of the virus, and as a result of that, gain a lot of insight into its transmission, subtypes, variation, and possible mutation.
Most of the work that is conducted at the center is at a molecular level. If you have a blunt cutlass, you don't think you can cut down a bigger tree. It's just the shrubs you can. But if you have a sharp cutlass, which is also basically the tools that we have, then we can confront bigger and higher molecular kind of questions and address them.
We have a tradition that we say in the center known as the WACBIP machinery, and that comprises of a group of people who believe in a common goal and who are determined to make sure that they achieve excellence at everything that they do, whether it is research, whether it's training or teaching, and then the entire back end that nobody gets to see. Really teamwork and very diligent leadership that makes us achieve the excellence that we are known for.
I love working at WACBIP because the leadership of WACBIP identifies young talent and then give them opportunity to grow. I've been here 10 years because I believe that I've had opportunities that I wouldn't have had elsewhere.
We have created innovative and engaging ways of interacting with communities that we work with. We conduct and engage our communities in outreaches, schools engagement activities, and a whole lot of activities that make science fun and exciting for the public.
WACBIP has demonstrated that it is possible for us to remain in Africa and produce high-quality scientists.
I think its focus is on two things. One, doing the research, but also developing the researchers of the future. And that is where I think WABIC has a special strength, focusing on developing the researchers of the future.
We are training all these young people, but where are they going to work? If you look in the US or in Europe, majority of PhD graduates don't stay in academia. They go into industry, they go into a variety of jobs.
In Ghana and in fact most of West Africa, we don't have a biotech sector. We have some pharmaceutical companies, but most of them just do manufacturing. Because of that gap, many of the things that we've done have gotten to a dead end because the uptake is not there. And so we are trying to push for that next level.
We also need to build the ecosystem here of a biotech. So we have a program which is a biotech entrepreneurship program. And the idea is that now we are going to be seeding people who not just have the ideas, but they will try to do some startups. Of course,
the idea of building private sector-based research to complement the academic research that is being built at centers like WACBIP, I think is a natural evolution of the development of the center. WACBIP's goal is to train and seed science around the continent. What better way to seed it than through private companies that do the work like what we do here?
The next phase is on the shoulders of the next generation, the younger scientists that we brought here. Very talented group of people.
Happy 10 years, WACBIP.
Happy 10 years, WACBIP.
Happy 10th anniversary, WACBIP.
Happy 10 years to WACBIP.
Happy 10 years, WACBIP.
happy, glorious and illustrious 10th anniversary, WACBIP.
Happy 10th anniversary, WACBIP.
Many congratulations to everybody involved in the WACBIP story.
So the applause says it all. I don't have to repeat anything. Happy 10th anniversary, WACBIB. A few more acknowledgements. We've also been joined this morning by Professor Eric Dankwa, Director of the West Africa Center for Crop Improvement. He's the grandfather of the West Africa, of the Centers of Excellence. Probably if I say you are the father, it's true, you are the grandfather. Also with us this morning is Professor Mark Sandoyidana, Dean of the School of Physical and Mathematical Sciences. He's also the incoming provost for the College of Basic and Applied Sciences. And we have with us two former vice chancellors, Professor Clifford Niboy, Emeritus Professor Clifford Niboy Tego. Prof, you are very welcome. And Emeritus Professor Ernest Aite, who will be speaking later this morning. Prof, you are welcome. We've also been joined by Professor Chris Gordon, former Director, Institute for Environment and Sanitation Studies. Also here is Professor Augustine Oklu, Dean of School of Biological Sciences. I'm also happy to acknowledge Professor Alfred Edwin Lawson, Dean of the University of Ghana Medical School. Thank you, Prof, for being here. I understand we also have with us a rep from the World Bank AAU. If you are here, please kindly let us see you. Okay. I didn't even realize I was sitting by you. And also here with us is a representative from Welcome Science for Africa, if I got it correctly. Can we see you so that we can acknowledge you? Okay. I understand we also have with us Dr. Anefi Asamwaba, former Deputy Director General of the World Health Organization. If you are here, please. Okay. Thank you very much. So it's now time to receive welcome remarks from our host. I will call him today the Master Dreamer of WACBIB. So I would like to invite here Professor Gordon Awandari, who is the Founding Director of the West Africa of WACBIB, I won't try, and also Pro-Vice Chancellor with responsibility for academic and student affairs.
Thank you. Good morning to you all. Madam Chairperson and Vice Chancellor of this great university, Professor Nanaba Apiamfo, our guest of honor, Dr. Darius Hussein, who is representing the Minister for Health, our distinguished keynote speaker, who is also the Secretary General for Arua, former Vice Chancellor of this great university, Emeritus Professor Ernest Aite, Pro-Vice Chancellor responsible for research, innovation, and development, Professor Felix Asante, Provost for the College of Education, Professor Sam Kujo, Provost for the College of Humanities, our Dean of Provost, Professor Dan Ofori, other distinguished guests present, former Vice Chancellors. I see Emeritus Professor Cliff Tego, representatives from the Ghana Health Service, the representative of the Sciences section of the Ghana Academy of Arts and Sciences, Professor James Ephraim, the Managing Director of the Precious Minerals Marketing Company, Nana Kwesi Ewia, members of the WACBIB Advisory Board present, deans, directors, heads of department, our distinguished collaborators coming from all across Africa and the world, my fellow center leaders for the African Centers of Excellence, my fellow colleague, program directors of the Deltas program, our faculty, staff, students, colleagues from the media, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. It is really a great honor to welcome all of you to the climax of the 10th anniversary celebrations of WACBIP. It is also our 8th annual research conference. 10 years ago, I and a few colleagues started this experiment called WACBIP. We had a bold vision, but we had realistic expectations. Indeed, we failed at our first task, which was to coin a catchy and attractive name. As you can see even from this morning, people are struggling to remember the right sequence of the words in our name, or to even pronounce the acronym WACBIP. So we failed at that. But I'm happy to report that despite that initial misstep, we have made tremendous progress. Today, we show significant impact across the continent. And as those of us who had this dream, we actually feel that we are ahead of schedule and we have already exceeded our expectations for the first 10 years. WACBIP, as the documentary noted, was born out of the energy and restlessness of young faculty members who had resolved to work together to change the situation in the Department of Biochemistry, Cell and Molecular Biology. Many of us had returned from doing our PhDs abroad, and we found that even though the department had a new building and had more space, the depravity remained. There was limited research going on. We had large laboratories, but they were empty. We had many students, but they were all undergraduates. Indeed, there were periods in the department where we would go 3 to 4 years with one single PhD student. That is year 1, year 2, year 3, year 4, one student. The World Bank African Centers of Excellence presented a unique opportunity to address our challenge. This scheme was looking to build centers of excellence to train high-quality scientists locally and to stem the brain drain. And we felt that this really spoke to us. We wanted to create a dynamic research ecosystem that would serve as a platform for training young African scientists, especially in the basic sciences, which we believe was lacking on the continent. Not long after we secured funding from the World Bank, the Wellcome Trust, working together with the African Academy of Sciences, launched what we call the DELTAS initiative. DELTA stands for Developing Excellence in Leadership Training and Sciences. Even more than the ACE project, the DELTAS initiative, we felt was even more tailor-made for us. This initiative was targeting people who wanted to do quality science in Africa. In fact, one of the mantras of DELTAS was to shift the center of gravity of African science to Africa. And this really spoke to us. We took full advantage to consolidate what we had started and expand the mandate to include postdoctoral fellowships and also to introduce human genetics into our research. And so with a combined funding from the two initiatives of $15 million, that's from the ACE and the DELTAS, we built a foundation for what we are celebrating today. I believe the documentary told the story and did that effectively. So I will not bore you with the details. What we are celebrating today is the hard work of many, many people, and at many levels. And I will not be able to mention all of them. But I would acknowledge a few, institutions or individuals. First, we would like to acknowledge the government and the people of Ghana for signing up to the World Bank ACE program. Many of you would know that the ACE program is actually a credit facility. So whilst the University of Ghana and other institutions were given these funds as a grant, these funds were actually charged to the government of Ghana as a loan. So we all as Ghanaians are paying for these monies. So we're grateful to you, people of Ghana, government of Ghana. We also want to thank the Delta's team, Wellcome Trust, the UK government, for the initiative that really stabilized WAGBIB and propelled us to where we wanted to take off. Today we are very fortunate to have the brains behind the Delta's initiative. Professor Kevin Marsh is here. Let's acknowledge Professor Kevin Marsh. He designed this program and secured funding from the Wellcome Trust to start this initiative. I want to thank the University of Ghana for strong institutional support. In order to make progress, we had to disrupt the system a bit. As you know, sometimes in order to make sustainable change, you need to disrupt a system a little bit and rebuild it. And we had to do that in order to get to where we wanted to be. Fortunately for us, at the time we had a vice chancellor who was himself busy trying to disrupt the whole institution. So we found inspiration from the institutional level disruption to also disrupt at our level and to rebuild for sustainable research. Successive vice chancellors have continued to support us. We're very fortunate to have our current vice chancellor, who's a staunch supporter of the vision of WAGBIB and for research capacity building in general. So we're grateful to the University of Ghana, the leadership at all levels, for the support and the sustained commitment. I want to recognize the tremendous work and commitment of our staff, our faculty, and our collaborators. At the institutional level, here within the University of Ghana, we work with several units, Noguchi and others. Nationally, we work with many institutions, the health research centers, hospitals, and so on and so forth. Regionally, we work with so many regional partners, universities, research institutions. Globally, today you see here more than 20 institutions represented. These people have been with us, and we are very proud of the partnerships and what we've achieved together. Thank you very much. Finally, I want to thank the most important people in this whole process, which is the WAGBIB Fellows, the young men and women. They bought into the vision. They have carried it with their energy and their talent. What we celebrate today is a result of their passion, their commitment, and their hard work. We celebrate our fellows. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, today and the rest of the week, we will be showcasing what we have achieved together, all of us, which is not only building scientific research capacity, but developing people, standing up new science leaders for the continent. We will demonstrate that Africa can lead effectively, that Africans can lead our own research. We can set the agenda and we can execute in an efficient and effective manner. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I want to end here by thanking you all once again for your support over the years, for being here today and celebrating with us. We thank you very much. Before I take my seat, I would like to introduce our chairperson for today. Our chairperson for today has a master's and PhD in linguistics from University of Science and Technology. She is a former dean of the School of Languages and a former pro-vice chancellor responsible for academic and student affairs. She is a member of many prestigious societies and organizations, including being of the Ghana Academy of Arts and Sciences, being a member of Commonwealth Professionals Fellowship, the Alexander von Humboldt Foundation, German Academic Exchange Services, the International Women's Fellowship Leadership Program. She is a pioneering fellow of the African of the American. She is the current inaugural president of the African Humanities Association, which is an offshoot of the African Humanities Program. She serves on many international boards and committees. I would mention just a few, including being the vice chairperson of the African Research Universities Alliance, which is ARUA, the board of ARUA. She is also an administrative board member of the International Association of Universities and a partnership board member of the Worldwide Universities Network. She has received many, many awards, including the GUBA, which stands for Grow, Unite, Build Africa, Nana Santua Women of Enlightenment for Resilience and Work in Academia, which has created knowledge, built confidence, and broken down barriers to opportunities. She has also been recognized by Grace Africa as the Ghana Woman of the Year for Excellence in Education. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, it's my privilege to introduce my boss, who is a trailblazer, a distinguished academic, and the first female vice chancellor of this great university. Thank you very much.
Thank you for your kind introduction, Professor Awandari. Our guest of honor, the Honorable Minister of Health, who is being represented by Dr. Darius Osei, who is a special advisor to the minister or the ministry. Our distinguished keynote speaker and former Vice Chancellor, Emeritus Professor Ernest Aite, Pro-Vice Chancellors, Provost, Deans, Directors, Heads of Departments, former university officials, former Vice Chancellors, registrars, etc. All our special guests who are visiting us from far and near, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, good morning. Professor Wandari welcomed you to WACBIP, and that is where his authority ended. I have the privilege of welcoming you to the University of Ghana. Thank you. Thank you, Pascaline. Yeah, I have the privilege of welcoming you to the University of Ghana, Ghana's premier university, renowned for its top quality graduates, picturesque architecture, and natural ambience. It is with tremendous excitement that I accept to chair the opening ceremony for the 10th anniversary celebration and 8th research conference of the West Africa Center for Cell Biology of Infectious Pathogens. I did it, right? The WACBIB conference has garnered a reputation for high-quality scientific content, world-class keynote and plenary speakers, and stimulating interactions. Conferences of this nature resonate with our university's renewed vision to achieve global impact through innovative research, teaching and learning using a technology-driven and people-centered approach. It may be obvious to say that WACBIB, through its conferences and activities, speaks to our second strategic priority of impactful research. However, I have no doubt in my mind that WACBIB epitomizes all of our strategic priorities outlined in our 5 for 5 just launched strategic plan. Transformative student experience, impactful research, commitment to our faculty and staff engagement and partnerships, and sustainable resource mobilization and stewardship. And we saw these demonstrated through the documentary. World-class research is being carried out here at UG with capacity to impact the quality of human life, and WACBIB is playing a pivotal role. These research outputs must be showcased to ensure that its full potential is explored through expanded stakeholder dialogue. WACBIB is a flagship research unit and one of our 3 World Bank Centers of Excellence here at UG. And let me take the opportunity to also acknowledge, they call him the grand patron of the A centers, Professor Eric Damkwa. Now, since its establishment in 2010, WACBIB has grown into a research center with an outstanding record for globally recognized research and excellent graduate training. UG is very proud of WACBIB's achievements and the remarkable influence within the university in Ghana and Africa at large. For instance, the role of WACBIB in the COVID-19 natural response was a testament to the center's research capacity. WACBIB is a self-financing unit, having attracted more than 56 million USD since its establishment. These funds have been used for the following: the construction of the WACBIB building, upgrading and equipping laboratories in the Department of Biochemistry, Cell and Molecular Biology, Department of Biomedical Engineering, and Noguchi Memorial Institute for Medical Research. Purchase of high-end equipment, including genome sequencers, high-performance computing system, and a confocal microscope. These are open for use by all scientists at UG as well as scientists for other institutions. So WACBIB is not selfish, it shares whatever they have. It's provided fellowships for 56 postdoctoral fellows and 374 students from 20 countries. The last I counted was 19, now it's 20. Including local and international students for master's and PhD training at UG. Modernized teaching facilities for high quality training of graduate students, paid salaries of more than 80 full-time staff at WACBIB, and it's enabled WACBIB faculty and students to contribute to over 440 publications in peer-reviewed journals. I thought we would give WACBIB a round of applause. Also, WACBIB and the 2 other World Bank centers have supported initiatives to enhance the UG student experience through digitalization. Additionally, the center has promoted inclusivity by equipping the Assistive Technology Laboratory to improve the teaching and learning support systems for students, faculty, and staff with disabilities. Having accomplished so much in just a decade, WACBIB's performance trajectory can only get better. I would like to assure WACBIB and our other flagship centers of excellence of my unflinching support to ensure that they continue to excel and promote the UG brand. Any vice chancellor with these centers ought to be definitely proud. This ceremony sets the tone for us to reflect on the outcomes of work done by WACBIB and its collaborators, having shaped the development of health solutions in the sub-region. Hence the theme for this conference, Addressing Health Challenges in Africa, a decade of building world-class and innovative scientific capacity, could not have been better chosen. It pleases me to observe the purposeful selection of experts, researchers, and thought leaders who will be speaking at this conference. Over the next 3 days, this conference will delve into state-of-the-art research, consider innovative solutions, and extensively dialogue on issues that will influence the direction of healthcare globally, but particularly on the continent. I think Professor Moshi said that this time it's 5 days, not 3 days. Yeah, so I correct that, 5 days. I urge you all participants in the sessions I urge you all to participate in the sessions and build and or strengthen networks while conveying your unique perspective. At this time, I would like to express immense gratitude to WACBIB's funding partners who have retained confidence in the university by committing to resources for WACBIB for training and research. Let's acknowledge them with a round of applause. I congratulate the leadership led by Professor Gordon Awandare, the faculty, staff, and students of WACBIB on a decade of scientific excellence and for putting together another excellent research conference. Let's applaud them too. Let me mention that UG management is committed to minimizing the internal bottlenecks that may impede the work of such centers, so long as it lies within our remit. Some of the things go beyond us. Let us make this conference an impetus for strategic cooperation and development of novel solutions, setting the university on the path to achieve global impact through innovative research over the next half a decade. I appreciate your coming, and I trust that you will find the conference both inspiring and useful. Congratulations, WACBIB, on a decade of inspiring research leadership and empowering training of the next generation of African scientists. I wish us all fruitful deliberations. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Madam Vice Chancellor. As she takes her seat, please let's continue to applaud her. Thank you, VC. A few more acknowledgements. Dean of our Provost College of Humanities, please pardon me, I missed you in the first round of introductions. It looks like my glasses are not helping me this morning. Professor Danofori, you are welcome. Thank you very much. And also the Vice Chancellor mentioned earlier on that representing the Minister for Health this morning is Dr. Dyrus Osei. You are very welcome, sir. A few housekeeping issues. If you need to use the washroom, Unfortunately, you have to do some walking. The washrooms are underneath this auditorium. So if you can ask any of the ushers, they'll be able to lead you to where to use the washroom. It's very close to where the registration desk is. So please take note of that. We also want you to know that you are live on the University of Ghana social media platforms, as well as the social media platforms for WACBIB. I want to try and project Can I get some help here? Okay, it's up, okay. So this is the announcements are loading. So we are live on WACBIB's YouTube channel. Also would like you to log on to Twitter, on the WACBIB Twitter channel, Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn. Also, we are transmitting on the University of Ghana's YouTube and Facebook pages, so just know that you are live and you are online. We also want to give you the opportunity to join any of these. I'll give you a few minutes to log on if you're on social media. It would be nice to post something to show that you are here at this function. This is the conference brochure. I'll also give you a few minutes to scan the QR code that's displayed right now so that you can get a copy of the brochure on your phone. Those on this side, please, can you see? Are you able to scan? Let me step back. Are we okay? Also, we were encouraged to get your WACBIB cloth. I see, for those of us who are in it, I'm sure you admit that is beautiful. We've made them into very beautiful designs. So please get your WACBIB cloth and souvenirs today. They are on exhibition at exhibition booths at the WACBIB car park. So for those of us who are international participants, during the course of the conference, please, you can get copies of or pieces of the cloth and other souvenirs. Also, they are ready to wear WACBIB shirts, also Ghanaian arts and crafts available. So please visit the exhibition centers and get something memorable for yourself before you return. So thank you very much. I'll take this off, okay. So it's time for us to receive some solidarity messages. The first message is coming from the Pro-Vice Chancellor with responsibility for research, innovation, and development, Professor Felix Ankuma Asante. As he comes, please, a round of applause.
The chairperson for this function, the Vice Chancellor of the University of Ghana, permit me to stand on the protocol established. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, good morning. Congratulations to WACBIB on your 10th anniversary. Over the last 10 years, WACBIB has grown in the number of researchers at their center, the number of postgraduate training, and also an increase in diversified research funding sources. And I must say, through the Office of Research, WACBIB is one of the major units with funds with the Office of Research, Innovation, and Development. The University of Ghana, through the Office of Research and Innovation, will continue to provide the enabling environment for the center's work. And this includes research administration and also grant management. We look forward in celebrating with WACBIB the 10 years, and we look forward also in the next 10 years WAGBIP multiplying its portfolio also by 100%. Thank you.
Thank you, Pro Vice Chancellor RID. Next, we'll have the message from the Provost of the College of Basic and Applied Sciences, and this will be delivered by Professor Mark Sando Yidana, Dean of the School of Physical and Mathematical Sciences. Please, let's welcome him.
All right, Madam Chairperson, I want to seek your indulgence to stand on existing protocol. Ladies and gentlemen, I represent the Provost of the College of Basic and Applied Sciences and colleagues of the college to congratulate WAGBIP, especially the founding director, who is also my senior brother and mentor, Professor Gordon Awandari. I also happen to share one thing with him. We are both from Notre Dame. And Notre Dame is noted for training cutting-edge researchers. So we are not surprised at what you have done so far with WAGBIP. The story of WAGBIP over the past 10 years just exemplifies what you can do when you have an enabling environment created, and then you have motivated staff. So whilst I congratulate the founding father, Professor Awandari, I want to also congratulate the then Vice Chancellor, Emeritus Professor NSIT, for the enabling environment you created. We are privileged to have two of those centers of excellence within the College of Basic and Applied Sciences, and both centers are a pride to the whole world. Over the past 10 years, with respect to WAGBIP, we have witnessed cutting-edge research, results of cutting-edge research, training programs that have led to the training of several professionals, many professionals at the PhD level, and then several others at the master's degree level. We are also aware of other capacity building projects that you have nurtured within the center for training existing faculty. The whole college has been a beneficiary of that. Apart from that, we have benefited in many ways. You have created infrastructure for other researchers to be able to grow. We are very proud of the endeavors that you have embarked upon. While we congratulate you for this feat, we are looking forward. We know that the future is brighter. The VC has stated in her statement that the university will continue to create an enabling environment. One of the bottlenecks that we have encountered over the years, you are aware of that, has to do with procurement of reagents. And I'm aware of what the university is doing. At the college level, we'll continue to do our best to also support. We are also going to continue to encourage you. We know that we have other potentials within the college. You have experienced that. You have a lot of experience together with my senior brother here, Professor Dankwa. We are going to be continue to look up to you to train others. We believe that we have potential to establish other centers of excellence within the college. We are going to work with you in the future, in the coming years, to ensure that those dreams come to reality. So for those of you who are coming from outside, we welcome you warmly to the College of Basic and Applied Sciences. The University of Ghana is the only university in Ghana. So we are proud that you have come to the only university in Ghana. We have so many things that make us different. So while you celebrate the research that is done by WAGBIP, we encourage you to survey opportunities within the larger university, within the larger College of Basic and Applied Sciences for collaborative research. On this note, welcome on board, and I wish WAGBIP the very best. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Professor Mark Sando Yidana. You sold the University of Ghana in a minute, and thank you so much for doing that so very well. And to say that the WAGBIP, so should I say, it's a center under the College of Basic and Applied Sciences, and that's why it was important to hear from the Provost Rep. Next is another sibling of WAGBIP, which is the Noguchi Memorial Institute for Medical Research, and I would like to invite the director, Professor Dorothy Yeboah-Menu, to speak to us.
Madam Vice Chancellor, permit me also to stand on the existing recognition that has been established. Good morning to everyone. Oh, please, I said good morning, everyone. Yes, on my personal behalf and on behalf of the management and staff of the Noguchi Memorial Institute for Medical Research, I extend my warmest congratulations to the West Africa Center for Cell Biology of Infectious Pathogen. I think I've been able to say the name very well because I was part of the beginning. As has been said by the director of WACBIB, the WACBIB was born out of collaboration between Department of Biochemistry, Noguchi, and some units of the university. And through our joint efforts, today we are celebrating Center of Excellence that's not only limited to Ghana, but globally should be acknowledged as a center of excellence. I think our collaboration shows that we can do more if we come together to work together. Because Noguchi is part of College of Health Sciences, whilst Biochemistry is part of College of Basic and Applied Sciences. But we could crisscross colleges to come together, and I think we've created something beautiful. Over the years, Noguchi just wasn't there to support the establishment. Been supporting WACBI throughout the 10 years journey. We are hosting some of their postdocs. We are hosting some of their research students in our laboratories, and equally important, senior members of the institute continue to lecture at Biochemistry and WACBIB and continue to also supervise students. I think together we've created something beautiful that Noguchi will not let it just leave WACBIB. On this note, I would like to say that Noguchi will continue to support WACBIB so that in the next 10 years, we are going to say that we've increased not only 100%, but we've increased 200%. If you agree, clap for this. And so, Professor Wandari, Lydia, and the rest, I stand on this podium to say that we pledge our unflinching support and we continue to work together to make UG a go-to university. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Professor Yeboah Menu. Next, we'll receive a solidarity message from the Association of African Universities, and this will be delivered by Dr. Sylvia Nkandawiri. As she comes, please, let's applaud.
Thank you very much. My name is Sylvia Nkandawire, and I'm coordinating the 53 Centers of Excellence for Development Impact, and of which WACBIB is one of them among the 9 in Ghana. So I did not come here alone. We have the Centers of Excellence, other directors from here in Ghana, Professor Dankwa, and also we have one of the Centers of Excellence leader from ESCO. This is a center in Cape Coast. He's come all the way to celebrate with WACBIB. So on behalf of all the stakeholders of the S Impact Program, this is funded by the World Bank, we would like to extend our heartfelt congratulations to WACBIB on this 10th anniversary. Last year in October, we announced at one of our gatherings that we'll be celebrating a 1-year-long for S funding by the bank. And with that, we are happy to note that WACBIB is one of the centers to celebrate this year, and it's one of the first centers among the 53 to inspire all the centers with this kind of celebration. So we hope all the centers are inspired, both connected online and here, to see how we can make some noise to transformative education through the World Bank funding. So over the past 10 years, WACBIB has distinguished itself as a beacon of science, excellence, and innovation, from fostering a vibrant research environment or nurturing the world-class scientific talent. And we've heard about the significant contributions in understanding and combating infectious diseases that disproportionately affected our continent, as well as cultivating a new generation of scientists who are equipped and tackle the continent's most pressing healthy issues. So, Prof. Awandari, the team, your dedication to advancing scientific knowledge and development is an inspiration to all of us. And the theme that you have also selected for this year, addressing healthy challenges in Africa, a decade of building world-class and innovative scientific capacity, resonates deeply with the mission of African Centers of Excellence. As we commemorate the S journey, which started in 2014, alongside the WACBIPs, we are reflecting on our shared commitment to enhancing the quality of higher education and research in Africa. WACBIP is also a testament of power of collaboration. We've seen a lot of partners that came in to join hands with the funding, the initial funding from the World Bank in 2014. And by working together with all these local and international partners, you have created a thriving center of excellence that is serving as a model for institutions across the region. Your achievements underscores the importance of investing in science, research, and education, and to drive sustainable development and improve public health outcomes. As we look to the future, from the S stakeholders' perspective, we are confident that WACBIP will continue to lead the way in tackling the Africans' most pressing health challenges. On behalf of the Association of African Universities and the World Bank and all the S community stakeholders, we would like to congratulate you once again. May the next decade bring even greater success and innovation as you continue with this important work. Thank you very much, Ayeko. May this celebration inspire all of us to strive for excellence in shared mission.
Thank you very much. That was Dr. Sylvia Mkandawiri from the Association of African Universities. Next, we will receive a message from the Ghana Tertiary Education Commission, GTEC, and I'd like to invite Dr. Edmond Anladong to do that.
Good morning to you all. And we want to thank you, Professor Awandari and the University of Ghana for inviting us to be part of your 10-year anniversary. In the last 10 years, the National Facilitation Unit at the Ghana Tertiary Education Commission has worked closely with the 5 universities that are implementing this excellent project. And there are 9 of them. It's just not WACBIP. The 9 centers are scattered in the 5 public universities that we have. And in the University of Ghana, we are very proud to have 3 of them. We have WACI, WACBIP, and WACMIC. I would want to just quickly dwell on just one thing that WACBIP has shown over the last 10 years, and that is leadership. What we have observed from the National Facilitation Unit is excellent leadership, vision that shows that the center leader has propelled this center to be a center that would show the path for most of the centers across Africa, not just Ghana. So I would like to recognize the vision that the center leader has shown over the last 10 years. And we pray and hope that he will continue to provide that glory in leadership that he has shown. It's important to also indicate that leadership doesn't end just at the center. As was indicated by himself, this is a loan from the Ghana government. And so past ministers like Professor Nana showed a lot of leadership in seeing the essence of having this loan from the World Bank. And I think she deserves some applause, including the various ministers that have come to pass. We've also seen leadership from the Ghana Tertiary Education Commission, people like Professor Duojua, who showed a lot of commitment to this project and seeing through it to this point. So we want to recognize the former Director Generals of Ghana Tertiary Education Commission for showing leadership and commitment to the project. Last but not least, it's important to recognize leadership at the university level. I think that it has already been indicated that the congenial environment was provided by the leader of the university, the vice chancellors, the past vice chancellors who have done so well. We have the venerable Professor Ayite here and other vice chancellors that have shown the way, including the very current vice chancellor who is showing the way in terms of providing the congenial environment for the centers to thrive. Without their support, these centers can't operate, and that is a fact. We've seen centers in other African countries that have not gotten the kind of support from senior management, and those centers are lacking behind. And on this occasion, I want to indicate that the 9 centers that are operating in Ghana are actually leading the project in the entire African continent. And that is something that we need to indicate for them. So we want to thank all the center leaders that have come here. We want to thank the exemplary leadership of Professor Wandari. We want to thank the exemplary leadership of course, my boss, Professor Jinapo, who is not here, for giving us the opportunity to continue to support the various centers to thrive. We are praying and hoping that the next 10 years or beyond would be a decade, it would be, opportunity to work with you and continue to provide the support that you require to operate as centers of excellence. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Anladong. Next, we'll take a message from Science for Africa. Welcome, if there's a representative here. Okay, please let's welcome him.
Thank you, Chairperson. My name is Dennis Chopera from Science for Africa Foundation. On behalf of the Science for Africa Foundation, it is an honor and privilege to extend our warmest congratulations to WACBIP on the momentous occasion of your 10th anniversary. Over the past decade, WACBIP has not only emerged as a beacon of scientific excellence in Africa, but has also made profound contributions to the global scientific community. Since its inception, WACBIP has demonstrated an unwavering commitment to addressing some of the most pressing health challenges faced by our continent. Through cutting-edge research and high-quality training programs, the consortium has significantly advanced our understanding of both infectious and non-communicable diseases. An example is the development of new techniques for culturing malaria parasites, which allows for the study of variations of malaria in resource-limited laboratories. WACBIP's leadership in the face of public health crises, particularly its rapid and effective response to the COVID-19 pandemic, has set a remarkable example of how African research can drive impactful change. Your efforts in establishing world-class research facilities and fostering impactful collaborations with national and international partners have not only enhanced the scientific landscape of Africa, but have also inspired future generations of scientists to pursue careers in research and innovation. It is this impact that has enabled WACBIP to attract funding from the Science for Africa Foundation and that of other funders, which include the World Bank. At Science for Africa Foundation, we share your dedication to advancing science and innovation in Africa. Our mission aligns closely with yours to catalyze and strengthen Africa's science and innovation ecosystems, thereby addressing the continent's sustainable development challenges and improving the lives of its people. We are driven by the vision of making Africa a hub of scientific excellence and innovation, a vision that WACBIP embodies through its achievements and aspirations. WACBIP's success is a testament to the power of collaboration, the importance of investing in science, and the extraordinary potential of African researchers. It is through the collective efforts of programs like WACBIP that we can make significant strides towards a brighter and healthier future for Africa. We are proud to stand in solidarity with you and support your mission to advance scientific knowledge and innovation. As we celebrate this significant milestone, we look forward to continuing our partnership with WACBIP and witnessing the incredible contributions you will undoubtedly make in the years to come. Your journey so far has been inspiring, and we are excited about the future that lies ahead of your program and the wider scientific community in Africa. Once again, congratulations on this remarkable achievement. The Science for Africa Foundation is honored to be part of your journey, and we look forward to supporting and celebrating your continued success. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Representative from SFA. Welcome. Next, we'll take a solidarity message from Africa Oxford Initiative, and this will be done by Professor Kevin Marsh. Please, a round of applause as he comes.
Thank you. Madam Vice-Chancellor and distinguished colleagues, it's such a pleasure to be here to celebrate the 10th anniversary of WACBIP. But as I was sitting here, I was thinking, for me personally, it's not only a 10th anniversary, it's actually a 40th anniversary of the first time that I came to Ghana. Those of you who were in Accra 40 years ago will understand when I say things have changed rather a lot. It's really been so inspiring. And I find myself a little strange to be introduced as representing Africa Oxford. And I do represent Africa Oxford, which I'll say a little about in a minute. But my relationship with both science in Ghana and particularly with WACBIP has actually been from other institutions. Firstly, from the MRC in the Gambia, which I was at 40 years ago. For many years to Kemri Wellcome in Kenya, where I spent most of my career. But also, and as Gordon was very kindly pointed out, I was very honoured to be asked by Wellcome to lead the development of the Delta's idea. So then into the African Academy of Sciences, and now subsequently with Science for Africa. So I wasn't sure which organisation I was actually supposed to be representing. But whichever one it is, all of them would say exactly the same thing, which is that WACBIP has been a real inspiration. And as I was listening to other people talking, I mean, they were saying things which I completely agree with. And I think the key point was, to me, yes, it takes vision and leadership. And Gordon, you've been fantastically inspiring. But it doesn't matter how inspiring you are, you can't do anything unless you've got other things. And the other things are also well represented in this room. You need fantastic, young, enthusiastic people. And Ghana and WACBIP just absolutely have that. But you also need an environment, an academic environment which supports it. And I know, and it's a great pleasure to be in an audience with previous Vice-Chancellors as well as the current Vice-Chancellor. And I have to say particularly Professor Ariiti, who, as it happens, is our chair of the Africa Oxford's Advisory Committee. And you can't do anything without that. And then even then, as has just been pointed out, you have to have the backing of the government. And so until all those things come together, nothing works. So I mean, I won't say you've been lucky, you've driven this, but you have been fortunate to be in an environment where it's been possible. And it's wonderful to be in that environment today and to say congratulations, not only to you and the team, but to all those people who have made WACBIP possible. It has been an inspiration, it remains an inspiration for all of us. And so As I say, I actually now happen to represent Africa Oxford, which represents Oxford University's relationships with Africa. And we're delighted that they're very extensive with the University of Ghana, not just with WACBIP. And we look forward over the coming years to building on that relationship. But let me finish there and say to all of you, but to Gordon and to your team in particular, and to the entire university, many, many congratulations on what's become a beacon of excellence across the continent.
Thank you. That was Professor Kevin Marsh from the Oxford Africa Initiative. Last but not least, we'll take a representative from the Ghana Academy of Arts and Sciences. If we have a rep here, can we have you here? Okay.
Good morning. Or is it afternoon? Still morning. Then good morning. I am James Hawkins Ephraim, a fellow of the Ghana Academy of Arts and Sciences. And I'm here making a representation, intrinsically a solidarity message to WACBIP on behalf of Professor Isabella Kwachi, the Vice President, Science Section of the Ghana Academy of Arts and Sciences. At the beginning, we were told there were some students here and also some market women. So I'll take the opportunity to say a little bit about the Ghana Academy of Arts and Sciences. Because if I don't do that, I have a lot of fellows here who might be annoyed with me. I was sitting next to one. Madam Chair President is one of them. My own senior brother, Clifford Tego, is here. The founder of WACBIP is a fellow of the Academy. So I'm doing this on behalf of all fellows here, but intrinsically for Professor Isabella Kwachi. What is Ghana Academy of Arts and Sciences? The Academy was established by an Act of Parliament in 1959. And this Academy envisages to be Ghana's foremost merit-based society committed to national development and advancement of the world. With its core values of relevance, integrity, professionalism, and excellence, GAS, the Ghana Academy of Arts and Sciences, still maintains the following aims and objectives: to promote the study and extension and dissemination of knowledge of arts and sciences, to establish and maintain proper standards of endeavor in all fields of science and learning in Ghana, to recognize outstanding contribution to the advancement of sciences and learning in Ghana, and to be the responsible agency for the organization and coordination of all scientific research, both pure and applied, in all branches of knowledge. This is what the Ghana Academy of Arts and Sciences is all about. And with this, it means that the activities of WACBIP fits into the dreams and the aspirations and the things that the Academy aspires to be, in fact, within its mandate. As for the WACBIP, it has done so much. A lot has been said about it. But I had a chance to learn that in the 10 years, you've done so much. And for a new insider or a new learner, I was proud of what WACBIC has been able to do in 10 years. A lot of things have gone on, the achievements, number of graduates who have come in, 227 master's students already, 121 PhD students, 52 postdoctoral fellows, and short courses for more than 1,000 Africans. This is a great feat. And so, the Ghana Academy of Arts and Sciences is very proud of the remarkable achievements of WACBIC within the 10 years of its existence. The Academy supports the activities of the Center, empathizes with the challenges that it encounters and will continue to encounter, and is in solidarity with the Center for the pursuance of its goals and objectives. The GAS empowers WACBIC to endure the challenges in moving forward. We talk about 10 years. The issue is to be able to manage the change that comes, managing change. And we want to encourage the center to be ready for managing the change that is bound to come. The Academy has 2 chapters that we want to really introduce to WACBIC, which the director himself is already aware. The Health and Sanitation chapter and the Science, Technology, and Engineering chapter. These 2 chapters are available in the Academy, and they are ready to collaborate with WACBIC so that we can together move forward into finding solutions that will help our dear nation and Africa in general. And I thank you all for your audience.
Thank you very much, Ghana Academy of Arts and Sciences. I'll kindly like to invite Professor Lydia Mosi back here, Deputy Director Administration, to do some acknowledgements. So please, let's welcome her as she comes.
Thank you, Pascaline. So we have a tall list of collaborators and partners here, and I'd like to acknowledge your presence, and in no particular order. Dr. Benes Da from the University of Liberia, thank you. Professor Wellington Oyibo from the University of Lagos, thank you. Professor Alfred Nwa from MRC Gambia. Dr. Natulma Katawa from the University of Lomé, thank you. Professor Jean Langon, Francis Crick Institute. Professor David Conway, London School of Hygiene and Tropical Medicine. Dr. Ambrose Ahudi, Institut de Recherche en Santé de Surveillance Épidémiologique d'Information, Senegal. Professor Basiru Bonfo, this is a special one because he's my mentor, Santo Swiss and Director of African Reach. Professors Kirk Deitch and Laura Kirkman from Weill Cornell. Professor James Abugri, C.K. Tedam University, and an alum of WACBIB. Dr. Bismarck Denko from KNUST. Professor Felix Abagale, Pro-VC UDS, and the Center's leaders for A Center Wakwisa. Professor Dennis Aheto, Center Leader for A Center ACE Core. Thank you. Professor Lars Vid, another Ghanaian from Copenhagen. Professor Mahmoudou Diakete, University of Science, Techniques and Technology, Bamako, Mali. Susan Gishoga from SFA, Nairobi, is also here. Thank you. Professor Rachel Simmons from University of Surrey, my collaborator as well. And I'd like to acknowledge Mr. Simon Donko. He's not here. He was our former M&E officer at WACBIP. He designed the logo that you're seeing, the anniversary logo at 10. And I'd also like to acknowledge Mr. John Jerry Dadzi. He's currently in level 400, and he designed the WACBIP cloth. So whilst I'm here, I'd also like to take an opportunity to acknowledge our sponsors. We had 3 categories: platinum, gold, silver, and bronze. The platinum sponsors were LabMat and Thermo Fisher Scientific. The gold were Caramore, Yamachi Biotech, an offshoot of WACBIV, DCL, Excelsior Global, silver, and the silver sponsors are Encaba Biotech and UGel for the water that you are enjoying. And our bronze sponsors were Beth Lord and MES Equipment. Thank you so much.
Thank you to our sponsors. I think I spotted the UGel CEO, Mr. Noti Papa. Oh, okay, he's over there. Thank you very much. Permit me a few more acknowledgements. The director, our CITO, our Chief Information Technology Officer, Mr. Boache, has also been here today. Mr. Boache. We're also joined by the Director of Academic Affairs, Mrs. Lydia Nyakudankwai. She's here. Okay, there you are. Professor Kwesi Tope, Dean of the School of Public Health, is also with us here. And then we were also joined by Professor William Ampofu, who is the CEO of the National Vaccine Institute. I think I spotted him. Okay, thank you. And then the Director of our Physical Development and Municipal Services Directorate, Mr. Peter Balansa, is also with us this morning. Thank you very much to all of you. It's time for us to listen to some impact stories from WACBIB alumni, and I would like to invite Professor Theresa Manfujira, who is the Head of Research Training at WACBIB, to do this for us.
Good morning, everyone. So I'm really excited to coordinate this 30-minute session where we would like to showcase 5 of our very successful alumni whose research has impacted in their research area and also on public health. But before I do that, before I do that, I would like to show you okay. So before I do that, I would like to show you some numbers. So I know that you've already heard about some of the figures on the fellows that we've been able to train over the 10-year period. As you've already heard, so this is the most current numbers. So as we've already seen, for the last 10 years from the inception of WACBIB, we've been able to train 430 young African scientists from as many as 20 African countries. And of these we have 244 master's fellows, 130 PhD fellows, and 56 postdoctoral fellows. And what somebody would say is, so we've trained this number of people where they are. So when okay, so I'll try to stand Yes, I think once I touch it, then it moves. Okay, so when we follow our fellows that have gone through our training, and what you see is that we have as many as 83% of all the PhDs who have completed their fellowship at WACBIB remain in Africa. More interestingly, a much higher number of, thank you very much, a much number of our postdoctoral fellows have remained in Africa. So we have as high as 91%. And I think you will agree with me that these numbers are very encouraging, right? And this gives us the impetus to do the things that we do at WACBIB. So at this moment, what we would like to do is to showcase 5 of this very established and successful fellows and alumni that have gone through the program. So first, I would like to introduce to you Kesego Tapela. So Kesego is a PhD alumnus, and she obtained her PhD in molecular cell biology of infectious diseases between 2019 and 2023. She was here on a WACBIB ACE PhD fellowship and also a Juanita PhD fellowship. So she's currently a research scientist at Botswana Vaccine Institute, Botswana.
I'm from Botswana. I was a PhD student at WACBIB from 2019 to 2023. I came across WACBIB online when I was looking for PhD opportunities. I may say WACBIB is one of the best research centers in Africa, conducting top quality research with world-class facilities. I was fortunate enough to be one of the young scientists that has been nurtured and trained by WACBIB. My research was mainly on COVID-19. It was very intriguing to me that COVID-19 was mild in Ghana, more so that 80% of the population that was infected with the disease were asymptomatic, or they did not show any symptoms. So my study basically was linking this to immune response to see if there are any immune response factor that could have contributed to this mild COVID-19. We found that asymptomatic patients or patients that do not show any COVID-19 related symptoms displayed lower activation of immune cells such as cytokines and T cells. So these are the cells that usually contribute to severity when they are overly activated. These patients also showed strong production of baseline SARS-CoV-2 antibodies, which could have cleared the virus. These patients also had higher expression of protective genes. So these genes has been mainly found to be related to influenza. They have been found to clear influenza. So these genes has been found in asymptomatic patients. Most importantly, previous exposure to malaria was also detected in these patients, especially asymptomatic patients. They tend to show recent exposure to malaria. So it was very important to say that, or to suggest that previous exposure to malaria could have contributed to the lower severity of COVID-19 in Ghana. So I would like to share one of the papers that we recently published from Cellbot, a highly impacted journal. More details about how the link between malaria and COVID-19 could be found in this. If you are really interested, I encourage you to go and see, or to go and read and find out how we were able to show how malaria previous exposure to malaria contributed to mild COVID-19. So this study is very important for public health, as it can create effective diagnostic and therapeutic tools, assist in combating coronavirus infections, and also prepare for future pandemic. Finally, let's say it has been an honor being at this institute as it has really positively impacted my career as a scientist. I was under good supervision. I gained knowledge on how to formulate questions, analyze and interpret data, as well as develop I've developed technical and writing skills, which are very important for my career as a scientist. I've also published a number of papers in highly impacted journals. I also had, through WorkBeep, had the chance to travel abroad and learn more techniques and learn more data analysis, which has really boosted my career or boosted my skills, technical skills as a research scientist. I had the chance to also present my work in seminars organized by WorkBeep, in conferences organized by WorkBeep, such as this one. This has really helped me improve my public speaking skills, which are also very crucial for my career as a scientist. I also had the chance to meet different people with different expertise, the faculties at WorkBeep. This has really expanded my work. I also met people when I was traveling abroad for conferences, when I went to learn more techniques. This has really expanded my network as a scientist. This was through WorkBeep. I would like to really, really thank WorkBeep. Happy anniversary, WorkBeep. Thank you, everyone, and enjoy the conference.
Okay, so we have the next alumni. He is Samuel Mawuli Adade. So he is a PhD alumnus. He obtained his PhD in biochemistry between 2016 and 2020, and he was here on a WorkBeep Delta's PhD fellowship. And he's currently a postdoctoral fellow at the National Institute on Deafness and Other Communication Disorders, National Institutes of Health, NIH, USA.
My name is Samuel Mauli Adade. I have a background in the genetics of hearing impairment. After completing my Master of Philosophy degree, I faced the important decision of where to pursue my PhD and what area to specialize in. At that time, WorkBeep had just begun admitting students. Although I was eager to travel abroad for my PhD, a common aspiration, it took me over a year to decide to stay and train in Africa. The rigorous selection process, WorkBeep's outstanding reputation for conducting cutting-edge research, and the center's drive for excellence were some of the key factors that influenced my decision. In the hindsight, I am incredibly grateful to WorkBeep for the PhD opportunity and the training. Joining WorkBeep has been transformative for my career. I had the privilege of being trained by some of the best scientists on the continent and across the whole world. My PhD advisory team consists of world-class experts in medical genetics, population genetics, biochemistry, cell and molecular biology, and audiology. For my PhD, I studied the genetics of hearing impairment in Ghana. The ear helps us to hear, and this is an image of the ear. And we know that when sound travels through the ear, it interacts with the eardrum, picked up and amplified and sent to the inner ear. In the inner ear, we have genes that are expressed that help us to hear. So these genes are expressed as proteins, and the proteins work to help in the hearing process. So I went into the Ghanaian community with the aim of sampling participants who have hearing loss and looking for genes that are associated with hearing loss within the Ghanaian population. Our study has identified 7 novel hearing impairment genes, here highlighted in green, and also I've highlighted here in yellow a gene which is now in the clinic for clinical trials for gene therapy for hearing loss. So these families can benefit from the ongoing gene therapy for hearing loss. We also developed a simple diagnostic tool that can help in screening and genotyping individuals for the common hearing loss variants within the Ghanaian population. And we also hope that with the knowledge of the genetic landscape of hearing loss, which I'll be talking on tomorrow, so please don't miss tomorrow's session, we would be able to develop a more comprehensive diagnostic tool that can screen different genes that are prevalent within the Ghanaian population. We have also written a policy paper which has been published, and by the help of WorkGroup communication team and the help of Elvis, my colleague, we have written a policy brief which is now with the Ministry of Health. Hopefully we will see this coming into policy and the policy being implemented within the Ghanaian context. Through WorkBeep, I have acquired extensive knowledge and practical skills, and also a wide array of techniques in human genetics. The training has equipped me with the ability to critically think and formulate research questions and develop hypotheses. Thanks to this world-class training, I have received travel grants to attend international conferences. I also have received the opportunity to give talks in these conferences. WorkBeep has provided me with career guidance and support, which were very instrumental in securing my first postdoctoral position at the University of Cape Town and my current position at the National Institute of Health. Thank you so much, and see you tomorrow at my talk.
That was very inspiring. So Mawuli is one of our keynote speakers. So you should be around tomorrow to listen to all the research that he's been able to do. So next, also online, is Claudia. So Claudia will share. So Claudia is also a PhD alumnus, and she obtained her PhD in biochemistry. So Claudia actually upgraded from the master's MPhil biochemistry straight into PhD. So she didn't quite finish the MPhil, but went on to start her PhD. And she was at WorkBeep between 2018 and 2022, and she was on the WorkBeep ACE PhD fellowship. So she's currently a research associate at WorkBeep. Claudia.
Thank you very much. So my name is Claudia Adjo Aniba, and I am training at the Department of Biochemistry, Cell and Molecular Biology. And afterwards, I went to Noguchi for research training and internship. First of all, WorkBeep was not my first choice, but it so happened that I got admitted and was awarded a scholarship. So I joined the WorkBeep training program in 2017 as an MPhil student, and as was earlier stated, I was upgraded to the PhD in 2018. Now, WorkBeep offers a well-rounded training program, and one thing that is central to this training program is a mentorship program they have added to the criteria. And this mentorship program has helped me in so many ways, not just with my academic aspect, but helped me to also develop a work-life balance. Now, One important thing that I would like to state about the training program in WorkBabe is that they have a curriculum that does not only rely on teaching, but that does not only rely on the academic aspect, but has also included workshops and series of training. Now, one key thing that I have acquired from this workshop training is the ability to write grants, and this has been very instrumental in me writing grants and being awarded competitive international grants to attend conferences and workshops. Additionally, interacting with the international faculty of WorkBabe has given me the opportunity and has granted me the knowledge to be able to transition between from being a graduate researcher, a postgraduate researcher to my early career research. WorkBabe has attracted over the years some of the most brilliant African scientists then and beyond the continent, and this faculty has been instrumental not only in teaching but also in mentoring. Now, interacting with these faculty, the African faculty, has given me perspective on how to go about science to tackle particularly African problems. And for my PhD, I had the opportunity to be mentored by great scientists, molecular geneticists, doctors in the field, and population geneticists in answering pertinent and particular questions regarding breast cancer. So for my PhD, I went on to profile the genetics of breast cancer in the Ghanaian population. The Ghanaian population, not because it is the most affected, but it is an indigenous African population that have been underrepresented in most of the genetic studies that has to do with the genetics of the disease. And the whole intention of studying this is to profile the disease risk factors in an indigenous population to bridge the gap between misrepresentation of the disease and how the disease detection and risk factors have been determined. So the main question of my PhD research was, what are the genetic drivers of breast cancer in Ghanaian women? And to answer this, I had three main things that I sought out to do. I wanted to find out what was the etiology of the mutations that are occurring, the somatic and then the germline mutations. And then I went on to determine the somatic driver genes and then germline drivers of breast cancer in the Ghanaian population. And then I fared to isolate and generate cell lines of Ghanaian population. Now, the impact of my study is that the cell lines that have been generated will serve as a more ethnically relevant study model to facilitate functional genomics in indigenous African population compared to the available black cell lines. And the somatic and germline putative novel drivers that have been identified will serve as a better strategy in disease detection, breast cancer detection, prognosis and treatment in the indigenous African population. Now, aside my studies, WorkBabe has given me several other opportunities. Owing to WorkBabe's training, I was privileged to join the World Bank high-level meeting and to be a student representative of the WorkBabe ACE program. And also WorkBabe has funded several of the conferences that I have attended, and I've had the opportunity to present my work at these conferences. And I've also had the opportunity to win awards at some of these conferences. And I'm most grateful for this training, and I would like to thank WorkBabe again for considering me and being a stepping stone for my future career. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Claudia. So we have two in-person presentations. So next is Felix Ansah. So Felix is also a PhD alumnus, and he obtained his PhD in molecular cell biology of infectious diseases. So he's also one of the students that got upgraded from the MPhil, and he is a fellow from 2017 to 2021 and also still a fellow. He's currently on a TIBA PhD, so he did his PhD on a TIBA PhD fellowship and currently a postdoctoral fellow at WACBIP.
Okay, thank you very much. So I should say that I'm a little bit different from my colleagues who just presented, because it looks like I started science at WACBIP, and to the scientific community, I learned how to pipette at WACBIP. And I remember the first day I tried pipetting, I got it wrong and had to go and learn it for about 3 months before. Yeah, and to the non-scientific community, it's more or less like learning how to eat with spoon. So I didn't know how to eat with spoon at all. So I was bred at WACBIP. Thank you, WACBIP. So I've been working on a smartphone-linked chip. The concept is based on the fact that during the COVID-19, we all realized how we struggled getting point-of-care tools for diagnosis. Okay, yeah, so we realize that not only in the developing countries, in the developed countries, but also in the developing countries, the scientific word that became very common in our environment is PCR, and I'm sure we all heard about it. PCR, it's a test that's used to identify germs that causes diseases. It was developed about 50 years ago, so it's an old method, but that was the best tool we had during the COVID. And you realize if you needed to do PCR, you have to go to the lab. It's either they take your sample, send it to the lab and do the test, or you have to be there in person. And after that, you have to wait for sometimes days or weeks. And in the developing countries, it's really challenging. So my project has been on the fact that we can use the mobile phone. I'm sure we all have mobile phone, smartphone to do diagnosis. And we are developing a tool that works like PCR, but a little bit different. And it has several advantages. And I started it during my PhD, and I've continued as part of my postdoc. So I joined WACBIP formally in 2016. In 2014, I joined, but then formally I started my master's and got upgraded into the PhD program and completed 2 years ago. Still with WACBIP as a postdoc. And my work, like I mentioned, started during my PhD. When you look at the point one, the concept is to develop PCR is very complicated, so we can't do it in our homes, in our offices, and that's the idea behind what we are doing. So I tried developing a very simple protocol that would allow us to perform this test in our homes, in our offices, everywhere we want to do this test. So the first one, like you can see, it's based on color change. So with the color, you can tell whether it's positive or you're positive for a particular disease or not. And this test we started in 2018, and during the COVID, we were able to repurpose this platform to screen some of the samples. So it's really helped in the screening of the COVID samples. And the focus is to also make it cheaper. So we are producing all the reagents that we need to do this assay at WACBIP. Like it's showing them, the red is positive, the yellow is negative. Another thing I also worked on is the biosensor. So a biosensor, the principle just works like a SIM card and a phone. Just as you're able to put or program your SIM card to respond to a particular network, the same way a biosensor can be programmed to detect a particular infection like COVID. So I worked on during my PhD, and the plan is to push it forward to so that we'll be able to use them in the clinical settings or in our homes. So at this point, these are some of the things, the first two things are some of the things I did during my PhD. So I realized that we can push them to the point of care at the hospital. So that's what I've started as part of my postdoc. That's item 3. How can we integrate develop these tools in a particular chip, which we call the microfluidic, then link it to phone. And the good thing about it is that once you're able to link it to phone with the internet platform, you're able to do the test in your office, connect it to your healthcare provider who's sitting in his office, and he'll be able to help you get the appropriate treatment. And this platform too will be able to help us to respond to a pandemic when there is one in the future. Not only that, we can do routine surveillance of infectious diseases and also help us to monitor drug resistance. So thank you, WACBIC, for providing me the opportunity and the funding to do all these things. So just as my colleague said, I've also received a lot of opportunity to travel and to work with other international partners. And this week I have to highlight that we're working with a lot of international partners in Europe, Africa, and also in the US. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Felix, for being an inspiration. So our final presenter is a former postdoctoral fellow. So Modibo was here between 2016 and 2019 on a WACBIP Delta's postdoctoral fellowship, and he is currently an associate professor at University of Science, Technique and Technologies of Bamako at Mali.
Good morning. Bonjour pour les francophones. First, I apologize for my informal. I'm sorry. Please, I need help. First, I apologize for my informal dressing. It is coincidental, at least I am dressed all white from the Malian clothes with the WACBIP short on the top. You will not feel that we need to redo the prayer without the permission of our veteran father.
Okay.
Next. That's good. I have organized my story in steps for easy understanding. After my PhD in neurogenetics, I work on childhood spinal muscular atrophy carrier frequency. And I found that the carrier frequency was 6 times lower as compared to global prevalence. Meaning, if I decide to continue to work on this, I will not have SMA patients in Mali. I decided to switch my research interests to work on autism. My PhD supervisor recommended me to Professor Gashwin at the UCLA to do research on autism. We had a nice online interview. I had only 2 months left before my visa expired. And then I decided to come back home. When I came home, I wrote a PhD type proposal with 3 specific aims. I wanted to do a prevalence study to determine the prevalence, to determine the risk factor, to evaluate the landscape of autism research. When I sent my proposal to him, he replied, Modibo, each of your specific aim is as broad as the mission of the ministry of your country. I said, okay. At least with that, I can make a career out of it. I went to the department of the pediatrics. I talked to one senior pediatrician about autism. He asked, you tell me first what autism is, then you will request what you need from me. I explained briefly the triad of the autistic triad and comorbidities. He said, let me tell you something. A few years ago, I was advising the Malian Ministry of Health. We had an invitation from Europe for someone to attend a conference on autism. When I received the invitation, I gave it to the head of the ear, nose, and throat department, meaning he has no idea about autism. I was looking for preliminary data, so I said, this is not the right place. Then I went back to review 12,000 pediatric medical chart from the Department of Psychiatry and a private clinic to establish the frequency of 4.5, and most importantly, the mean age at first medical visit was 7 years old. This points me to the need to validate and use early autism screening tools. I wrote a K43, submitted. A reviewer came back to me. It was positively reviewed, but not funded. And they said, the lead applicant is well qualified, but it seemed not to be familiar with the NIH grant writing. And on top, they said, listed senior investigator on his application may not have read his application at all. That was true. I said, okay. I was looking for funding. All of a sudden, Professor Jakite invited me to apply for the WorkBip Fellowship. I did apply. This is why I call WorkBip my godsend. I was so frustrated with whatever is going on. Then, when I got into the WorkBip, I had a salary because I was coming from 8 months jobless before I get the position at the university. Thank you, Gordon, for that. I also had a research fellowship, a research fund, but I promised to do genetic family studies. The reality was different. I had to focus on public and community engagement. I engaged the First Lady here. I engaged the House of Representatives. For the First Lady, she was interested because one of the political opponents of her husband labeled the president with political autism. I don't know what it is. But the reason was the president would not listen to the opponents or collaborate with them, which may be a bit close, an autistic threat. Then, when I engaged her, she gave us 80 meter square land for autism research, which was wonderful. And I did some research to validate 3 different parent-reported autism screening tools. The MChat is for 18 to 24 months old. The SAQ is 4 to 20 years old, and the Indian scale for autism assessment. I did supervise, I did mentor throughout, and I got some publication since I have been in WorkBip. This is the pathway to impact of WorkBip I was implementing in Mali, to do research, to train, and to do public and community engagement so that we can easily translate our research funding into policy. But when I talked to the House of Representatives, the Medical Commission, I had one from the north of the country. When I explained autism, he said, this is the reason for us, most of the first boy in the family are dumb. Maybe they have autism. You should go to the north of the country to do your research. I did not do that. I did it in the capital city. In 2019, after my postdoc, WorkBip connected me with the African Research Excellence Foundation. Since then, I have been co-facilitating grant writing for early career researchers. In 2023, I had a small grant from AfriHealth to train 40 early career researchers in manuscript writing in English from 8 different French-speaking countries, Central and West Africa. Currently, I have 2 grants under review, one for human papillomavirus vaccination in Mali, and another one to establish the Center for Autism Treatment, Training, and Research in Mali. Prof. Gordon, thank you very much. You have been truly inspiring, and I apologize for all the email I sent out of frustration, and I appreciate your understanding. as you always said, I will quote you, at WACBIP, we give no excuses. We just deliver what we promise. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And I'm sure you have been inspired. And we hope that you continue to support the vision of WACBIP. Thank you very much.
I thought we would have a louder round of applause. This is just a sneak peek into what WACBIP has been doing over the past 10 years. And I would like to thank Professor Theresa Manful-Jura for coordinating the impact stories. I would also now like to invite you to once again turn your attention to the screen. We are going to show an excerpt of a longer documentary which is part of WACBIP's community engagement initiative, and it's a docudrama on genetics of hearing impairment. While this is being played, I know we've been sitting for a long time. If you want to stand, please feel free to do that. But this will just be for a few minutes, and then we'll take our address by the guest of honor.
Ago! Nana and the council request tomorrow morning. Nana wants to meet everybody at the village square. The great Asparrow has spoken. Ago! People of Asempa, Nana and the council request your presence. Nana wants to meet everybody at the village square. The great Asparrow has spoken.
Nana and Council welcome you all to this urgent but very important meeting. Nana want to cut straight to the point. Nana, speak.
People of Asempa, the issue confronting us is a very serious one which needs to be addressed. I'm not an expert myself, but our forebears have told us over the decades the mysteries surrounding deafness in our community. Much as we have tried, we've not been able to find answers to this problem. But today, our son Kojo and daughter Agnes are here with some medical officers from Legon to educate us on the subject of deafness and its possible causes. Dr. Wo and Dr. James, you are most welcome to this community.
Thank you very much, Nana.
Please, you have the floor now.
Thank you very much, Nana.
As part of our work as clinicians and researchers, we investigate what makes each person unique and different. We do this by examining your blood sample. How many of you here have ever given their blood for testing?
Blood. I can't give my family.
Blood.
My family.
No. Blood is sacred. We don't give blood. Yes.
It will never happen like that. I can't give my blood.
It is very important to give blood to be tested because every information that is used in building our body is packaged as genes, and this can be isolated from our cells in our blood sample. This we inherit from our parents.
So as you can see, features such as our height, complexion, color, including defects such as sickle cell and deafness, are all inherited from our parents. These traits are controlled by our genes. Have you noticed that every family has a feature that is passed on from generation to generation?
That is why our elders say the crab does not give birth
to a bed. But I want to ask a question. Are you saying that deafness is not caused by curses or witches?
My elders and people of Asempa, that was what I believed until I could not find spiritual remedy for my daughter's deafness. That was why I gave in to genetic investigation.
I am glad this has come up. Please, from today, no one should associate deafness to witches or curses. As we have explained, every defective condition is as a result of our genetic inheritance. Although there are environmental factors.
People like Mr. Akoto and his family, and like my daughter, are all normal human beings. Their deafness can be explained through scientific investigation.
No, please, let us put it on record that with the advancement of science and technology, every medical condition can be scientifically examined, including deafness. So please, I will kindly entreat all of you to stop attributing deafness to spiritual causes.
Doctor, please. Some of our neighbors and the entire family are deaf. Does it mean that they spread it to one another? That is why we want Nana to send them out from our community.
No. Please, be rest assured. Deafness is not contagious.
Hey, thank God! Oh, children. Oh, my children.
Thank you. It's okay, woman. It's okay, woman. Please sit down. It's okay. Let them finish what they are saying.
Nana, all we need to do is to avail ourselves to be examined. It is possible some can be helped, but the most important thing is getting advice through genetic counseling and also having new babies screened for early detection. That's all we have to do.
Yo, my people, wisdom, they say, is like a baobab tree, and no one person can embrace it all alone. Today, we have been educated that the deaf people in our midst are our brothers and sisters. They are not under any curse. They are humans, just like us.
So thank you very much to our technical team. This is part of the things that WAGBIB does. As I said earlier, it's a docudrama on genetics of hearing impairments. And this is an excerpt from a longer documentary which can be found on the WAGBIB website. So if you want to watch the full one, please go to the WAGBIB website. And this is part of WAGBIB's community engagement initiatives. Please let's applaud them one more time. And this was done with the Ebibiguruma Theatre Company. They are residents here in the University of Ghana and want to appreciate them as well. It's now time for us to take our address by our guest speaker. And as we mentioned earlier on, the Minister for Health is being represented this morning by Dr. Dyrus Osei, Technical Advisor. Please let's welcome him as he comes.
Madam Chair, Vice Chancellor of the University of Ghana, Professor Nanaba Apia Amfo, distinguished keynote speaker, Emeritus Professor Ernest Aite, Pro-Vice Chancellor responsible for academic, student affairs and founding director of WAGBIB, Professor Godwin Awandari, Pro-Vice Chancellor responsible for research, innovation, and development, Professor Felix Asante, Madam Registrar, former Vice Chancellors, Pro-VCs, Registrars, and Provost, representative of the Ghana Academy of Arts and Sciences, other distinguished guests present, deans and directors, heads of department, faculty, staff, students, friends from the media, ladies and gentlemen. I'm honored to be here as the guest of honor, representing the minister, who unfortunately could not be here due to a prior commitment as well. On behalf of the minister, I offer warm congratulations to the management, staff, and students of WACBIB for their impressive achievement over the 10 years. The impact that WACBIB made in research and training of young scientists has vindicated the decision of government of Ghana to sign up for the World Bank African Centers of Excellence project. In 2013, the government of Ghana made a major commitment to promote higher education and scientific research by accessing $24 million facility from World Bank under the African Centers of Excellence project. Under the agreement, the University of Ghana received $16 million to establish 2 centers of excellence: the West African Center for Cell Biology of Infectious Pathogens, WACBIB, to provide master's and PhD training in molecular biology of infectious diseases, and the West African Center for Crop Improvement to train plant breeders in plant genetics and seed technology. A third grant was awarded to Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology, which received $8 million to establish the Regional Center for Water and Environmental Sanitation. Based on the strong commitment towards promoting science and high-quality research in Ghana, the government committed further investment of $60 million through the second phase of the World Bank African Centers of Excellence, dubbed ACE Impact for Development. This new funding facility enabled Ghana to increase its centers of excellence from 3 to 8, including the 3 from phase 1 plus 5 new ones, spread across 5 public universities in Ghana. The successful centers were selected through an open, highly competitive process with the aim of providing the necessary basis for research, excellence, and innovation. Today, we in the health sector are particularly proud of the impact WACBIB had made on the biological research, capacity, and healthcare delivery in Ghana. It is remarkable to see that WACBIB alone has provided education and enhanced the career development of over 430 young scientists from across Africa, with majority of the beneficiaries coming from health and educational institutions in Ghana. Moreover, the ministry is very glad to know that 1,800 health care professionals, including medical laboratory scientists, doctors, pharmacists, and nurses, have received hands-on training in modern methods for disease diagnosis through WACBIB short courses and workshops. We acknowledge the contribution of scientists to the response of the COVID-19 in Ghana. In particular, the work from the University of Ghana, WACBIB and Noguchi. WACBIB was tremendous in generating data to support the national response, including leading the way in producing genome sequencing data and the large-scale seroprevalence studies. Data from WACBIB often inform the president's popular fellow Ghanaian speeches and policy decisions. Lessons from COVID-19 pandemic and efforts by government to build capacity for future pandemics include better emergency preparedness, construction of infectious disease center, expansion of testing capacity across the country, establishment of national vaccine initiative, support for research. WACBIB has demonstrated that we have the capacity and expertise locally to provide high quality training and improve the quality of healthcare delivery for our people. WACBIB is playing a critical role in reducing the brain drain by providing a world-class training environment and fellowships for young biomedical scientists and healthcare professionals to attain high degrees without the need to travel abroad. There is a need for government to harness WAPIP capacity for training highly skilled health personnel through master's and PhD programs and short courses. We should not continue to spend huge sums of money sending students abroad on government scholarships when they can be trained here in University of Ghana. In conclusion, we congratulate WAKIF and the university once again on a decade of impactful world-class research and setting the pace for quality science in Ghana and West Africa. Best wishes for the conference. I thank you all. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Osei, for delivering the Guest of Honor's address on behalf of the Honorable Dr. Bernard Okoboy, Minister for Health. Thank you so much. It's time for us to listen to our keynote lecture, and it's my pleasure and privilege to invite former Vice Chancellor of the University of Ghana and Secretary General of the African Research Universities Alliance, ARUA, Emeritus Professor Ernest Aite, to do that for us.
Thank you very much, Pascaline. Madam Chair, Vice Chancellor of the University of Ghana, the first female Vice Chancellor of the University of Ghana. In the good old days, when I was Vice Chancellor, there was only one female Vice Chancellor in the whole of Africa. Today, I know at least three. And when I meet with my Deputy Vice Chancellors, you say four, okay, I know three, yeah, okay, so yeah. Okay, thank you. On my group of Deputy Vice Chancellors, about 55% are women. So I was telling Prof. Tego yesterday that within the next 3 years, most African Vice Chancellors will be women. And we'll probably have more women than the rest of the world. So thank you. Today, I have the privilege of sharing in Gordon's dream. Gordon used a word I didn't agree with in his introduction. He said he was being disruptive, and he found a vice chancellor was also equally disruptive. In my world, disruption is negative. I like change. Change, I know that you young people refer to it as disruption. But I find it, for my age, it doesn't really work well. And I used to say when I was Vice Chancellor that all I needed were 5 young, ambitious scientists like Gordon in the sciences, and another 5 equally young and ambitious for the social sciences and humanities, and we'll change this university. Today, after 10 years, I think Gordon has clearly vindicated the decision we took. I remember him coming with the World Bank team to come and convince me to support the initiative. So we went to the council chamber and I did one of my shows for them. They were very happy. And then the following month or so, he came with the Dell testing. And I asked Gordon, so you alone, can you manage all of these things? Time has shown that it could be done with support from people like Kojo Kuram and others, Dorothy, and a few other people. We've seen the change. So today, I'm here to talk about overcoming the challenges of conducting research in Africa. And there are 3 things I'd like to mention in this talk. The first thing I want to point out is that the need for us to do cutting-edge research is driven by the fact that there's a big problem in our region. We have the biggest need for research and development to change things, and yet we do very little in terms of that. our contribution to the global generation of knowledge leaves a lot to be desired. And then I point out that conducting research in Africa is extremely difficult, much more difficult than in other parts of the world, despite the things that we have done over the years. Then my final point is that overcoming these challenges will require a new model. And what Gordon has done here, Gordon and his team have done, is a clear manifestation of how a new model can work. So I will talk a bit about Africa's knowledge ecosystem, and then I'll talk about the challenges of doing the research in Africa, and then focus on how to overcome, or what experience today we have in trying to overcome these challenges. And then I'll talk briefly about the work big model, and then conclude from there. So, discussing Africa's knowledge ecosystem, the first point I make is about the diversity, the rich diversity of cultures, languages, the ecosystem, and then the dynamic socioeconomic landscapes. Africa is changing. The Africa we know today is very different from the Africa that became independent in the 60s. It's very, very different from the Africa that was very much always in conflict and so on. It's changing. And as it changes, the way we engage with it as policymakers, as scientists, as whatever, has to change, and so that point needs to be made. We talk about the fact that despite having 18% of the world's population, our generation of knowledge is much, much lower than the rest of the world, including in the other developing parts of our world. So only 3.5% thereabouts of global scientific knowledge comes from Africa. Africa accounts for only 0.3% of global research and development expenditure. 94 researchers per million inhabitants, which is not acceptable, and then only 0.5% of patent applications around the world. So this first chart here basically shows us the first point I was making about our contribution to the global generation of knowledge. Currently, what is important is that it is growing. It has seen some growth in the last decade. It is growing quite steadily, but it is still way, way below what we need in order to make that impact. So what do we have to do? This chart, let's say a map here, I started working with it from 2012. In those years, the Africa contribution was a narrow strip, a very narrow strip. I've seen it beginning to bulge very, very slowly, very, very slowly. So if you compare the 2012 image there to what we have for 2016, you see some growth, some change, but it is growing rather too slowly. And that's what people like Gordon and their colleagues and so on have to work on. Change that situation, change this map. It can be done within the next 10 years. And the point I'll be making with Arua and other similar institutions is that yes, change in Africa is possible. So in this Africa's knowledge ecosystem, what we do here in this chart is show which areas the growth that we are talking about is coming from. Clearly, in the environmental sciences, we've seen significant change. In public health, we've seen significant change, also occupational health. What is important is that the change is occurring where we put our money. About 80% of all research expenditure in the region is going into health sciences. Of course, if you're putting all your money into health sciences, you can't expect your agriculture to do that well. So we've got to think about these things. But of course, it's going to a very narrow strip of disciplines in the health sciences. And so that's one thing we should be interested in. Of course, we also talk about the spending. The more you spend, the more likely it is that you're going to find the type of researchers that you need to make that change in your system. Africa spends very, very little in the bottom left corner. And so it's not surprising that the number of researchers per million inhabitants is also the lowest in the world. So what this chart shows is the number of African researchers per million inhabitants. what is important is the fact that with population growth, that number is declining in terms of share. It's declining. So it grew up to 2017, and since 2017 has been declining, something that we need to also do something about. We show the number of researchers per million inhabitants in this way, also compared to the rest of the world. We are right at the bottom of that chart here. When it comes to female researchers, clearly, we cannot be doing very well there when the rest of the world itself has challenges, and we are spending far less than the rest of the world. So we are here together with East Asia and the Pacific, and then the South and West Asia, right at the bottom of the pile here. So we've seen that we are not doing well when it comes to spending on research and development, and also the impact of that. And even what we are doing is quite narrowly skewed. And most of whatever publications we are having are coming from a very small group of countries. For Sub-Sahara, it's all coming from South Africa. And then we've seen some impact coming also from North Africa. Yet our continent faces large number of complex challenges, the most important being the challenges we face with poverty, inequality, insecurity, the area of food, malnutrition, hunger, and then our strained health systems. It's important for us to accept, and I do make this point whenever I have a chance to talk to African policymakers, that we all aspire to attaining the African Agenda 2063. We also aspire to attaining the SDGs, whether in the areas of health, education, malnutrition, whatever. We have these aspirations. But we are not going to attain any of them, not in health, not in education, without basically changing the way we apply knowledge. It's not going to happen. We are not going to all of a sudden make maternal mortality rates improve without strong application of science. It's not going to happen. And you can't change that without research and development. And so you have no choice but to think about how you can. So there's enough evidence from the Africa Sustainable Development Report that there has been modest progress in poverty. Unemployment remains a major problem. Social protection systems in Africa are fragmented and inadequate. Here in Ghana, we have what we call the LEAP, the Livelihood Empowerment Against Poverty. We have this, we have school feeding, we have several social protection programs, but these are poorly coordinated. These are extremely poorly coordinated. And so we do not get the impact of what research and development can do. The prevalence of undernourishment has increased or has been rising. 60% of Africa's population experienced moderate or severe food insecurity. Today, as a result of changes in carbon emissions, we've seen how many households are being affected. Conflict in the region is rising again after going down considerably in the early 2000s. Today, we've seen conflict rising again, largely in the Horn of Africa and also parts of West Africa. So we know, and we've made that point, that research is important if we are going to make things happen. If we are going to reduce poverty and inequality significantly, good research needs to be undertaken. That good research is going to lead to significant improvements in food production. That good research is going to lead to improvements in engineering. That good research is going to lead to significant improvements in health delivery, and so on. But it's not happening for a number of reasons. Insufficient funding and investment is one that everybody knows about. Weak infrastructure and capacity, and that's what WACBIP is trying to deal with. WACBIP is trying to have modern laboratories and well-trained research personnel. That's what it's about. Insufficient training and mentorship, limited cross-disciplinary collaboration, weak linkages between research output and then the policy making as well as industry processes. One of the things that I've always been unhappy about in the research ecosystem is the fact that you don't find large groups of African researchers that are working with other large groups of African researchers. Everybody believes that he or she is an island, needs to be protected, is the best, and so on. And so today, I'm happy that Gordon has managed to bring other Africans on board. For us at Arua, it's not simply being able to bring other African students, but African institutions being able to develop programs with other African institutions. So that's how we're going to make a major breakthrough in this particular area. So these linkages, having University of Ghana scientists working closely with their Nigerian counterparts, working closely with Kenyans and Tanzanians and Senegalese and Ivorians, that's how the future, that's how you're going to get that critical mass of researchers competing with each other. It is that competition which is going to spur them on and lead to new breakthroughs in vaccine development. It's not going to happen that Gordon sits in his laboratory on Legon campus, there's no competition. Every now and again he goes to a conference in Edinburgh or to Oxford and then solves the problems. No. It is when Gordon knows that somebody in Ibadan is trying to do exactly what he's trying to do here, and so Lagos has to get it first before the guys from Ibadan or Lagos or Dakar are able to. That's how, so it's competition that makes science effective. We've got to encourage it in any way that we can in Africa. So insufficient funding. It's our governments need to support us. Governments need to support us. I'm very happy that the rep of the Minister of Health highlighted the kind of support that the Ghana government gave, which led to the ACE project coming into place and how it has borne fruit through WACI, WACBIP, and others. The infrastructure at most African universities leaves much to be desired. If you go, whether it's in Lagos or in Ibadan, Accra, Kumasi, wherever, the infrastructure leaves much to be desired. But the type of infrastructure needed, the type of equipment needed to make a difference, Lagos cannot afford. The government of Ghana alone cannot afford it. So that's what makes regional collaborations very, very important. How can the African Union work with other entities to provide a type of infrastructure properly located that makes scientists from Lagos or Yaoundé travel to Ghana or travel to Abidjan to go and do research and be able to work in the top laboratory, well equipped, properly functioning? It costs a lot of money, and the Ghana government is not likely to be able to do it. But the Ghana government can sit down with other African governments and discuss how to identify the shortages, design programs in order to make it possible for these things to be provided. So a lot of things need to change, and Arua has been working in this area. I provide examples of the challenges, basically, showing very much the type of funding that is available in terms of the cross-expenditure research and development. What is interesting is that for most African countries, the research typically that gets done takes place at the universities, and yet the funding doesn't go to the universities. The funding is spread all over the place. But most of the research in South Africa is 28%, Ethiopia 74% of all the research is being done at universities, and yet the funding that goes there is limited. We provide the types of funding that comes from different countries: basic research, applied research, experimental development, and so on. Clearly, we need to do a lot more. In many places, going to applied research, like the type of things that Gordon is doing here, but we got to have a much more better structured way of allocating funds for research. Again, we provide here types of areas in which funding is going for different countries. and so on. What is important is that anybody can look at this and determine whether your country is doing enough in terms of support for the higher education sector, and how you deal with it. How do you bring the private sector into it? How do you support business to be able to provide funding for research? This is providing you information about the ages of scientists. What is interesting about this is the fact that 2 decades ago, you would have found that most of your best scientists were over 55 years old. That is changing. Today, even though aging is a problem, through initiatives like what Gordon has put in place here, are making it possible for younger and younger people to lead science. I don't know if you are familiar with the ARISE program, which is organized through the African Academy of Sciences. Through that, many young Africans are able to get $500,000 of research grants and able to do good things. Through these kinds of initiatives, we are seeing younger and younger people coming into research. So we talk about what this table basically shows is the number of postdoc fellows in 2021 at some of the universities that we have over here. What is interesting is that you see for University of Ghana, only 24 compared to, so you'll be asking yourselves, how come we produce quite a number of PhDs every year? The University of Ghana produces, I think the last graduation was about 150 or so, thereabouts. When I became Vice Chancellor, you were doing about 30 a year. A whole university, you're doing 30 PhDs in a year. Today, you're doing about 150. So the 150 that you produce, what happens to them? Most of them will, even before they graduated, were lecturers in the departments with 1,000 students to teach. How can a 32-year-old or maybe 35-year-old PhD in molecular biology or whatever, and you're giving him or her 300 students to teach, what kind of research can a person do? So he or she will be there after 5 years, wants to be promoted, and so starts thinking, oh, what can I do to be promoted? Then they start doing all the things that you're familiar with. So you've got to have a strategy for occupying your young, early career researchers in a way that will make them move away from those things. What you saw in the chart is basically what is over here. University of Ghana can do much better in terms of postdoc fellows, and so support for enterprises like what WACBIP is doing clearly is very important for this. Again, one of the challenges that we see around the region is the fact that there's very, very little collaboration between researchers and industry. What this shows you is clearly the need for us to do a lot more. But even what is important is the fact that you don't find much collaboration among our own people in different places. We are more interested in working with our colleagues in the global north in publishing stuff. Research funding, clearly, the talk about insufficient funding is one that resonates quite well with many of us. We've known about it for many years. I think this is from data that we've gotten from the universities. I think you can disregard the 2022 figure for Dar es Salaam. It's a what do you call it, outlier that comes from one project, that was a big project, that was a regional project for the whole of East Africa, which was based at Dar es Salaam and is reflected in their figures here. But what is important, through looking at this, is that many African universities seek to do quite well when it comes to funding for research. And in the last decade, the competition has grown significantly. What's important, you see my career, for example, with $144 million of research funding. That's a lot. How does Makerere do it? Makerere positions itself as a center for the whole of East and Southern Africa. So a lot of the health funding that will come from WHO, the NIH, and so on, goes to Makerere. Kevin, I know that you've been working with Cambridge, so you are very familiar with the situation in East Africa. And that's how these universities have positioned themselves. University of Ghana has seen some improvement. It can do much, much more. These figures will change when young men and women become more ambitious. When you have a university where the average brand new doctor of whatever is thinking about when he or she is going to become a professor, there's a problem. You've got to think about a university where the incentive system is such that the path to become a professor is quite well delineated. So the person knows that it is my research and the funding that goes with it that will one day make me a professor. And it is not simply a matter of how many publications you have, regardless of where the publications are coming from. I say this because I see many young people around me, whether in Ghana or in Nigeria or in Kenya, having the wrong approach. And I think it's something that needs to change. How do you become a professor of what can I call? It is okay. So without any research grant, you've never had any grant, and yet you are able to. So there's an imbalance in gender participation. You find that that imbalance is more acute among the non-South African universities, something that needs to be addressed by the universities. Number of patents that are registered by universities, clearly the South African universities in our network are doing much, much better than the others. How do we deal with it? What will make University of Ghana take patents registration a lot more seriously? What incentive can we offer our scientists to think about the patents that they can register and what these mean for our eventual growth in the research and development arena? So we all need to do something about it. We need to think about how to provide an environment that encourages our young scientists to want to remain here. An environment that allows them to do research here in the region that they otherwise would have been forced to go to Europe, the UK especially, to go and do. How do we change all of that? Clearly, it calls for many centers like WACBIP, calls for a different approach and so on. Overcoming these challenges will require a complete rethinking and reorganization of the approach towards research. This university took many years to develop a research policy. I'm glad that the University of Ghana has a research policy. That research policy must be reflective of the needs of the university, but also how it can be a leader in the region. That's how these things work. Research centers must be established for collaborative work. So WACBIP will achieve even bigger results when it has collaborators in Nigeria, when it has collaborators in Cote d'Ivoire, in Burkina Faso, and so on. So you are able to bring them together, and I see that some beginning is being made here. How can we support that to grow much bigger than it is today? The integration of local research capacity building must form part of the conversation right from the beginning. How do you make PhD education a major activity for every department in the university? How do you ensure that funding from government is tailored towards supporting many of these things? So research partnerships should not be divorced from teaching. I don't know if you still have it in this university, but I do remember when we were thinking about promotions, people will be making the case for, look, those who are very good teachers don't necessarily do good research. I used to hear, I don't know, Madam, we see whether they still do the same thing. One always had to find a nice way of fending it off, that good research and good teaching, they go together. You know, it's not that a good teacher, so I can't be a good researcher, or I'm a good researcher, so I don't need to teach. These are things that go together. That's why within ARUA, we have created what we call the clusters of research excellence. ARUA is made up of 23 African universities, including KNUST, UG, UCC from Ghana, 23 universities. And we are working with the Guild of European Research Intensive Universities that has 24 members. And together we've created today 20 classes of research excellence that provide opportunities for us to do research and teach together. And it's really yielding fruit. One of the things that we've quite recently done, we took the bold step last week where we've supported, or we have agreed to support as many as 16 collaborative PhD programs, largely intended to achieve the kind of results that we are achieving with WACBIP, but at a much larger scale, So, the whole idea is to improve on the ecosystem through collaboration, and that's what we are doing. So with the ARUA PhDs, what we expect to achieve is 1,000 PhDs every year for these institutions that are involved, 1,000 PhDs. We've also tasked each of our member universities to work towards achieving 1,000 PhDs annually, moving from 150. We know it's not going to be easy. It's not going to be easy to move from 150 or thereabouts to 1,000 a year. But with the right support in place, with the right collaborations in place, it should not be impossible for these 20 universities to be able to do 1,000 PhDs a year. So for these 16 collaborative PhD programs, we are looking at infections and multimorbidity, which WACBIP is very much at the center of. WACBIP is working with Makerere in this area, and they are closely working with Tübingen, Glasgow, and Radboud University to produce, I think, 100 PhDs every year for the next 10 years, and we're going to support them. This is all coming with MasterCard support. MasterCard is providing $700 million over a 10-year period. So if Africa is able to receive an average of 70 million every year for 10 years, we should be able to make a much bigger dent on the whole thing. So we are looking at energy, we are looking at nanotechnology, water futures, computational thinking and AI, health and identities, engineering for the future, sustainable development studies, creative economies, applied health research in non-communicable. This is another one that is going to be very, very big. NCDs have been very much alive in our research space, but we haven't really done much there. This is a partnership that we're doing with Nairobi, Ghana, working together with Glasgow and Paris Cité. We expect to produce another 100 PhDs every year through this in the non-communicable disease area. Very much aware of the multi-mobility dimension of that particular endeavor. We are looking at sustainable food systems, we are looking at African futures, and the politics of sustainable development, peace and post-conflict, functional genomics, and then preparedness for pandemics and shocks. So clearly, we are thinking about how best to change the landscape, how best to change or improve on the ecosystem. The most important thing here is that we are doing this through collaboration. We believe that no one African university, no one institution is in a position to make that big transformation, make that big an impact. By working together with our global North partners, we should be able to change the situation in a very significant way. So I'm very happy with what WACBIP has done. I like the stories that were told. WACBIP shows very clearly that if we work together, we can make a big difference. WACBIP shows in many different ways how young people driven by proper ambition can make that big difference. And so I thank WACBIP for inviting me. Incidentally, today, I'm only 2 days away from retirement. So everything I'm saying, you just have to pray that people like Gordon will not forget that there's a dream. And that dream requires young people to be ambitious. That dream requires a vice chancellor to be committed. That dream requires a whole university to be bold and say, we want to make a big difference. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Emeritus Professor Ernest Aite, for delivering the keynotes, for giving us an extensive review of Africa's research standing, and also the need to do more. Thank you so much. We are gradually drawing to the end of this, this event. I would like to kindly invite Professor Gordon Awarandari up here as he takes us through the WACBIP Staff Awards. And as he comes forward, please permit me to acknowledge a few more people to let you know that apart from this keynote that was delivered by Emeritus Professor Ernest Aite, in the course of the conference, other keynote speakers will be Dr. Sam Adade, as he told us earlier on, Professor Basiru Banfo, Professor Herman Sintim, Dr. Elizabeth Irene Beatty, Dr. Tepo Tiokwa, I hope I got it right, Professor Musa Mhanlanga, Professor Nikaisi Ndam, Professor Janelle Bimam. These are going to be delivering keynote speeches during the conference. We have also been joined by Professor DJ Perkins from the University of New Mexico. I understand he was Professor Wandari's PhD advisor. Please, if you are here, can we see you? Okay. We're also joined by Director of Office of Institutional Advancement, Professor Dateba, Kwesi Dateba. If you are still here, it was nice to have you. Professor Akwesi Apienin Ado, Director of the Institute of Environment and Sanitation Studies, was also with us. And also Professor David Dodu Ahen, Director of the Institute of Applied Science and Technology, has also been with us today. We're also joined by the Deputy CETOs, Mr. Patrick Kuti and Mr. Kweku Owusu Osei. Thank you, all of you, for being here.
All right, so behind all the science that we do is a group of people who are usually invisible. Their names don't appear on research publications. They don't get to speak like I'm doing here. They don't go on radio or TV to speak. They don't go to conferences to present. And they are basically invisible. But they are really the engine that allows the center to function. We call this group of people the WACBIP machine. Yeah? And this is because since we started the center, we've made it a deliberate effort to identify talented individuals and develop them into world-class professionals in whatever they do, ranging from grants management, finance, ICT, security, driving, cleaning, everything we ask for world class. We have a high bar. And so our staff, we require of them high efficiency, high intensity, high integrity, and high commitment. Okay? And over the years, we've had to hire and fire people in order to get the perfection that we want, but some people have endured and have lived by the values and ethics WAGBIP. So today, we want to appreciate all the staff who have worked for WAGBIP and endured the pressure and the stress. Many of you even in organizing this conference, many of you who have traveled to come here, you would have engaged with so many staff at different levels, and you see the level of dedication, the time they respond to emails, you know, the organization to make sure that you're picked up, your bus is there on time. All these things are not normally recognized on the publications, and so today we want to honor them. And we will not be able to honor all of them because they've all worked so hard. So we are presenting the awards to two people who have really, exemplified the values of WAGBIP. And so, representing the senior, staff of WAGBIP, I want to call forward Ms. Sika Menka. Madam Vice Chancellor, if you can help us present the award to Sika for dedication, loyalty, and outstanding service to WAGBIP. If her family are here, they can come and join her for the picture. They're not here. Okay, all right. Thank you. Thank you very much. And then representing the junior staff, I want to call forward Solomon Yanyeli. Madam Registrar, if you can do us the honors. So Solomon is one of our security officers who has worked with us for the past 8 years. All right. I didn't mention, so Sika is actually our grants manager. She joined the center as an administrative assistant and learned how we do grants, and she rose to become the grants manager at WAGBIP. So we're grateful to all our staff for their efforts, and we hope that the next 10 years we'll continue with the same intensity and efficiency. Thank you very much.
So congratulations to the staff who have received awards. We are gradually drawing to the close of the program. It's now time for us to take an overview of the anniversary program. And after that, what is an anniversary without a cake? We are going to be cutting an anniversary cake. And so I'd like to invite Reverend Dr. W.S.K. Gbewonyo, Chair of the Anniversary Planning Committee, to give us an overview. And afterwards, we'll do the cake cutting. Yes. And as he comes forward, we have been joined by a team from Ohio University. Ohio University team, if you are here, can we see you? Yes, that's a high-powered delegation. We have Wonderson Gebres. I hope I've mentioned it correctly. We have Osman Merzekobo. We have with us Irene Hachu. Thank you very much. Donald Omathuna. I hope I got it correctly. So you are very welcome to the University of Ghana and to this event as well. Thank you.
So, Madam Chair and Vice Chancellor, I think I will just stand on existing protocols and wish to indicate that it's actually a delight for WAGBIP having emerged from the Department of Biochemistry, which in those days was of little significance, as the director mentioned, but has grown over these years. So if today WAGBIP has been making internationally an impactful impact, we want to celebrate this. And so we will be cutting the cake and express gratitude to God for his provision and for his blessings. And to get to this point, we had to carry out a number of activities. And what we are doing today, or starting today, is just a culmination of all those. We have had a number of subcommittees formed for this purpose to undertake these activities. We've had Publicity and Public Engagement Committee, which had been led by Professor Lydia Musi, and had the Finance and Fundraising Committee, led by Dr. Kwashi. And they too have also been those who chaired the subcommittee that is been handling our conference. But to get to this point, we had a series of what we call this day in WAGBIP history, which was featured on social media. So for those who have been following social media and have been more active than me, they would have been very much in touch with us. You would have also noticed that our vehicles are branded with our WAGBIP logo. We've done that just so that people will know what we are doing. And we believe that people in town may have been awakened to what is happening even here today, and will be supporting us even in times to come. We've also branded workshops that had been, or tagged the workshops and other similar activities carried out with WAGBIP at 10, so that people will be informed. We were blessed to have GIZ, as we were seeking funding, to be willing to support a vaccine special forum, which we held together. You know, we are so interested in preparing the even younger ones. So we had schools, 7 SHS schools, invited to undertake open day visits during the course of this. We also have our alumni, our students, the supervisors and PIs involved in some of these activities, preparing testimonials or enabling testimonials to be recorded and released on social media. For those of you who haven't been to WAGBIP for some time, you will have noticed, if you happen to enter there today, that we mounted at both entrances we had a backdrop which at least tell some of the things that we have been doing. When we had the day of Renaissance, or week-long activities of scientific renaissance in Africa, we also got involved and participated by mounting exhibitions. We've had our alumni also preparing, because we desire to get them fully involved in what is happening at WABIC at 10. So I'm sure there are a number of them who are here because they want to engage themselves in homecoming activities as well as have a dinner. And so they will join us as we have this dinner. Of course, you've already been part and watch all that have happened, which has been put into a documentary, which was 15 minutes. But we do have 5 minutes teasers, which have had different focuses, like the history, the alumni, and so on. And these will also be on social media. And as you can see, we were wondering if it's this color or the blue one, which is better. But we've actually got a cloth and want you to be part of that. So you put this on and everybody will know that first you are coming from UG and also you are part of what is happening at WAGBIP. And it goes for just 60 cedis a yard. So now we will want, as I indicated earlier, I would want to introduce actually, or mention at least, the planning committee, the Central Planning Committee, Madam Chair, if I may. I don't know whether Prof. Kobe Mensah is here. We got 2 representatives from School of Business, and they helped us a lot. Prof. Kobe Mensah and Chris Atadika. Please, are they here? Yeah, Prof. Kobe Mensah is, the 2 of them are behind there. Thank you very much for your support. And also my friend and colleague, Dr. Jonathan Ajmani. He had been also very supportive in this. Of course, I've mentioned Dr. Musi, Prof. Musi, and then Dr. Kwashi. We also had on this committee Dr. Yao Bediakun, the Yamachi boss, and Dominic Amuzu, one of an alumnus. Dominic, where are you? He's here, right. And then Andrew. In fact, a lot of these things we are doing with regards to the conference, communications. I always tell him he's overwhelmed. And where is, he's gone out. Okay, oh, he's sitting. Okay. So Andrew has been so helpful. And MFA, she controlled the purse. And of course, once we communicate with the director, she had to see to implementing that. We had Chris Abana, who had been the student rep, and then our indefatigable secretary, our AR, Miss Henrietta Ashabo. We're grateful also to all those who helped us on the scientific committee and also the logistics committee. They're all around, and we are thankful to you all for your support. I think now I will allow Miss Pascaline So I'm sorry to take over and invite the VC and all the other personalities who will help us cut the cake. Thank you very much.
So it's time to cut the anniversary cake. I would like to invite our Vice Chancellor, Professor Nana Abba Apia Amfo, Pro VC and WABIG Director, Professor Wandari, please kindly join us here. We'll have our keynote speaker, Emeritus Professor Ernest Aite, and our guest of honor, Dr. Darius Osei. Our registrar, Mrs. Emilia J. Mensah, please kindly join them here. Professor Kegdej, please kindly join them here to cut the cake. We would have our reps from AAU and Welcome to also join here. Dr. Sylvia Nkandawiri and Dennis Chopera, if I got the name correctly. Please kindly join us here. Agitech rep, please kindly join them here. Is Ade okay? Yes. Oh, Deputy Directors, please. You have been summoned to join us up here. Thank you very much. Let's give them a round of applause as they take their seats. So the anniversary cake has been cut. Okay. So I'd just like to hand over to our Vice Chancellor, who has been the chair for this event, to deliver her closing remarks. She's here already, but let's clap. Thank you.
Thank you, Pascaline. Thank you to you all for joining us since this morning into this afternoon. It's been a long day already, and so I'll try to be very brief with my remarks. We have all seen and heard what WAGBIP has been able to achieve over the last 10 years. Just over a week ago, the university launched its 5-year strategic plan. We call it our 5 for 5 blueprint, because we have a strategic plan for 5 years and we have 5 strategic priorities. And for each strategic priority, we have 5 strategic objectives. Our vision is to achieve global impact through innovative research, teaching and learning, using a technology-driven approach and a people-centered approach. Clearly, we can see that WAGBIP epitomizes our vision. If the University of Ghana is WAGBIP, we would say that our vision has already been achieved. We have a model to follow. The 5 strategic priorities: one is transformative student experience. We saw the testimonials of the students. We see students come to WAGBIP and they don't only get trained in the technical knowledge, but they also get holistic training, covering communication skills. There is provision of adequate networks for them, so that once they are done with their studies, they are on a good footing to start their career. And that's the transformative student experience that we are seeking to achieve. The second strategic priority is impactful research. we saw that even through the testimonials of the students, we've seen the research that is being done at WAGBIB, from breast cancer, COVID research, hearing impairment, autism, and even technology-based diagnosis. WAGBIB is really doing research that impacts our communities, that impacts our society. We have seen WAGBIB demonstrate the commitment to faculty and staff, and that's our third strategic priority. Even through the giving of awards to them, the recognition that every member of staff, every faculty is indeed an important part of our success. Not all of us can be researchers, not all of us can be faculty, but everyone who finds him or herself working here at the University of Ghana has a significant role to play towards our achieving a vision of having global impact. The fourth strategic priority is engagement and partnerships. And that's the very foundation of WAGBIB. That's how WAGBIB started. And that is how WAGBIB has been able to thrive all of these 10 years. We see the engagement and partnership among units here in the university. We've seen their partnerships with WAGBIB, with Noguchi. We've seen the partnerships with other units, even such as the School of Performing Arts. The only thing they didn't do is in coming up with their name and the acronym, they didn't consult the linguist. We forgive them for that. We've seen WAGBIB partnering with people or institutions on the continent, as well as institutions outside of the continent. And WAGBIB is not only working together with academic institutions, but also industry and other institutions. We're looking forward that there will be even more collaboration with policy-making institutions such as our ministries. And the fifth and last strategic priority is sustainable research mobilization and stewardship. Over this past 10 years, WAGBIB has been able to raise over 56 million USD to support the work that they do. And from everything that we have seen and heard today, I'm sure that we are all convinced that indeed WAGBIB has been a good steward of these resources that have been entrusted into their hands. And with the continued support of all of us, of university management, of state agencies, of other institutions on the continent and beyond, I believe that WAGBIB is poised to do even more in the next decade and the next several decades. And so, on this note, I would like to thank you all once again for coming. Thank our keynote speaker. He's always challenging us to do even more. He's going on retirement, so he can do all the talk and expect that those of us who are still in active service will take up this challenge. Yes, for the Arua MasterCard PhDs, is expected to be a game changer as far as PhD training and research on the continent is concerned. I'm happy to note that the University of Ghana is co-leading 2 of these collaborations and also participating in another 8 of these partnerships. And so we're going to be active participants there. Of course, as Vice Chair of Arua, I am obligated to ensure that my institution has a good showing in there, working with other partners on this continent. Parce que nous avons le francophone parmi nous, je voudrais vous souhaiter la bienvenue au Ghana, et en particulièrement l'Université du Ghana. profitez bien de la conférence et de notre magnifique campus. Je vous remercie. Merci. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Madam Vice Chancellor, for chairing this event very beautifully and for ending it by showing us how very multilingual you are. Thank you so much. And I believe that our Francophone participants felt very much at home when you heard the VC speak French. Can we applaud her one more time, please? Thank you very much. Before we go, some announcements. We would like to acknowledge Maoli Afat Chiawo, who worked on the documentary that we saw. Please, let's appreciate him. Would also like to acknowledge Abigail Amobuachi, who made the cake that was cut, the anniversary cake. Let's acknowledge her as well. After the university anthem, we'll try and take a group photograph of everybody. What we'll ask you to do is to try and come together. The photographers will stand up here and try to get as many of us as possible in a memorable photo so that WAGBIB can put it up as the 10th anniversary photo of every one of us who was here for this event. So please don't go away. We'll take the group photograph after the university anthem. Would like to announce that all the keynotes and invited dignitaries, you will come up stage after the group photograph for a photograph as well. Would like to inform all the invited guests and dignitaries that you'd be directed to the foyer for lunch. The foyer is behind us, behind this auditorium, but at the upper floor for lunch, so please do not go away. All students, please try and exit through this door and the one that takes you to the registration desk. You have to pick a coupon for lunch. So if you don't pick your coupon and you go to the lunch venue, you won't be served. So students, kindly take note of that. You exit through this door and the door on my left, okay, which takes you down to the registration point. And then when you pick up your coupon, lunch will be served at WAGBIB. So when you take your coupon, you just move to WAGBIB for lunch. All the SHS students who are here this morning, together with the market women who are here, please remain in the auditorium to be taken care of. And then also, all participants are informed that the afternoon session will resume at 2 p.m. at the WAGBIB Conference Hall. Okay, all faculty members, please kindly remain after the university anthem. So I'd like to thank all of you for being here. I almost said this morning, it's already past 1, who have stayed with us all this while to celebrate WAGBIB's 10th anniversary and also for the opening of the 8th Research Conference. We look forward to welcoming you at future events. And for those of you who are visiting the university campus, please make time to walk around our beautiful campus and enjoy the scenery. And we look forward to receiving you in the future during our future programs that we have. So faculty, sorry, you are not waiting here, but you are joining the lunch at the foyer. So please kindly take note of that. So thank you very much. I'll kindly ask that we rise for the university anthem. And please note that a bus will be available to convey those who cannot walk to WAGBIB. Sorry about that. University anthem, please.
Tower of David, is my of young and
So please, let's try and come together to the middle part so that our photographers can take a beautiful shot from up here.